Welcome to another edition of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I am your host, Justin Harvey. You can find me on Twitter at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire... Hi. All I hear is Casey now. Or no, is that Byron? Jerk. I unmuted you this time. You're an asshole.
I unmuted me.
Whatever.
How come you think it's me
first? The whole
first?
thing. I don't know, because your camera was moving, but then I was hearing the sound from him. Anyway, you can find the entire show on Twitter at MMM75, except while we're doing this right now live, Twitter has been completely hacked along with like Netflix and 5 other websites because I think Russia is trying to rig the election or something. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of major websites have been completely hacked today. As far as I know, YouTube's been hacked, and you're not even seeing this, and this video will never exist. But we're going to do it anyway because, damn it, we like to talk about fun stuff.
I have a news update on YouTube. I got an email link to this broadcast because I'm subscribed, and now I'm watching us. So I know that we're live on YouTube right now.
Do you see the picture-in-picture thing? Are we all in the...
I see the picture-in-picture. There's a little bit of a problem. You can still see Casey's involved. We haven't kicked him off the show yet.
Okay, so I think this answers our other question of you only get the picture-in-picture thing when there's 3 or more guests. I don't think you get it for just 2.
Oh, and we have the logo.
Oh, the logo's there. Great. Is that over here? Is that where that is? Right over here somewhere? In this?
Yeah, right now it looks like it's over my face. I clicked on it, and it went to the thing.
Yeah.
To our page.
It's so strange. It's like technology that we have no control over. We hit go, and we're very smart, savvy tech people. We could probably figure all this stuff out. But anyway, we got a big show today that we're going to do in a small amount of Josh Pillow-sized time, hopefully, because we want Josh to see or hear what we say at the very end of this episode. So, Josh, we're rooting for you and for us to give you what you need today by getting through a ton of awesome, incredible stuff. Today we're going to cover Lucha Underground Season 3 episode. I think we're in 7 now. I'm starting to lose count. That's good. That means we're starting to get deep into it. We're going to discuss WWE 2K17, which these guys have been playing, and a lot of, I know, our listeners have probably been playing the crap out of. We're going to discuss some UFC stuff. There's layoffs. There's Gegard Mousasi. There's Ronda Rousey. There's George St Pierre. There's Conor McGregor doing stuff. All sorts of interesting stuff going on in the MMA world. Bellator is canceling fights and hacking stuff and moving things around. And
they're hacking email servers.
Oh, no, I meant World Series of Fighting is canceling show. World Series of Fighting cancel show, not Bellator. But it's great because then they packed another show later in the Madison Square Garden ballroom. Anyway, tons of stuff going on today. Lots of exciting things. So stay with us. I can't wait to talk about Goldberg. Yes,
Goldberg and GSP, guys. Don't forget about MMA stuff.
Yeah, because Byron has all sorts of information on that.
Hey guys, guys, I want to plug something really quick since Justin didn't let me introduce myself. That's Casey Nielsen. Oh, okay. I got to plug this because I know that people don't listen until the end of the episode.
Byron's totally fucking you right now. That's an audio note. Stop!
I can't hear it. I don't know if it's working.
It's horrifying.
You know, I'm plugging a mutual friend's podcast, and Byron's fucking that over. Tomorrow, we don't do a live stream. I have no idea when the episode's going to drop. I'm going to be on the Bad Movie Night podcast. That's N-I-T-E. It's at Bad Movie N-I-T-E.com, C-O-M on Twitter. Gonna be talking ninja movies. Movies are supposed to be my real area of expertise, not Lucha Libre. So check it out. I'm going to talk about Godfrey Ho, the greatest ninja director that ever lived. He's a beautiful man. Beautiful man. Great work.
I'll definitely check that out. That's right up my alley. You know me. I love
I'll let everyone know when it drops, but, just subscribe to Bad Movie Night. It's a good podcast.
When you're at Bad Movie Night, ask Aaron how Jonathan Quick is doing these days.
I don't want to get thrown out of his fucking house, Byron.
And spit in his face.
Byron is in full jerk mode today. Wow. Right. Amazing. Is this because you didn't get to see Green Day last week, Byron? Are you mad?
I'm disappointed by a lot of things in life, but I locked picture on my short film, which means None
More
of it matters.
plugging from Byron is what
Everything
it
is
means.
great. My cat's trying to eat my pizza, so that's my struggle today.
Hey, just don't let your cat pee on your pizza and get me and Casey sick again. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
you guys
and
are
also-
allergic to food.
Are you eating pizza or a burrito, Byron? Because some people get those things confused. Some fucking hack writers.
They do.
What?
And for the record, I'm also going to say this. Guys, you don't need to tag me in a spoiler about Lucha Underground in any fashion.
Yeah.
I was there for probably about 50%, almost right in the middle of the tapings last year. And I was there like probably one day every weekend they tape. Casey was there for probably 82% or more of what was taped last season.
Because of that fucking weekend, Byron got me sick, you piece of shit, Byron.
Byron was
was
there quite a bit too. And so just so you know, if we're playing dumb, it's because you're dumb. And I'm just going to say it like that because we know what the fuck happens in the show already, guys, to a lot of this stuff. Now, we don't know all the backstage vignettes. We don't know how everything's going to play out. We don't know how everything is edited. But we know all the characters that are introduced this season. We know the storylines. We know the angles. Please don't tag me in it if you think that you've got some cool spoiler that you want to leak to the world, because the fact of the matter is I probably already know. And I'm not saying, because I want to be able to go back to the temple. We've all signed NDAs. Everyone who's gone to the temple has signed one that you're not allowed to talk about spoilers. So if you're one of those people, and there's plenty of them, and I appreciate it, and you go and you find out something that might be happening in the show, and you're excited about it, and you want to talk about it and whatnot, just understand that we're going to probably no-sell you on the internet, especially Twitter, because we don't want to ruin our chances to see live tapings of the show, because what they do is they ban you from the email list that lets you get into the show. And it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a worker there, a producer there, a believer that just goes to watch the shows.
You could be the most valuable person at a company and still get fired.
Yeah, you could be an MVP and still get fired. So
Yeah.
don't
MVP
don't think that we're trying to be mean either. We're just being funny.
I am.
And coy and whatnot. Like, we're not trying to piss anybody off, or maybe we are, but I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I just have fun with it. So please understand and bear with us, guys. Like, it's fun to talk about the show, but there's certain things that we know that we're going to happen, and there's implications that come in the show, and we can't even talk about it. We don't. Last Real Heels do the same thing because they know a lot of the stuff that's going on, or have been to tapings, or at least we're at Ultima Lucha Trace, so they know how some of this stuff's going to play out. But guys, we're not going to tell you. We're not going to acknowledge it if you get it right or if you get it wrong. We're just going to tell you something completely different, or no sell it all together and have some fun with it, because damn it, the show's enjoyable. The process of how they make it's enjoyable. The not spoiling it for other people is enjoyable. And we do also understand that trying to figure it out if you're not a person that knows is also enjoyable. We just can't be a part of that because we actually know.
Yeah,
So,
and if anyone tags me in fucking Doctor Strange spoilers, I will come to your house and cut off your fucking hands.
And support,
that's a
support
shame,
doing
because
that.
I just got a copy from China, and there's some really cool stuff that happens that that I'm gonna spoiler for you later today.
Dude, I had like 5 friends there at the preview, at the fucking premiere last night. I was not one of them, but my friend Reed Ackerman, who is as big of a Doctor Strange fan as I am, and does not work for Marvel, so he has no financial stake in this, says to not fucking miss that movie. So I'm very excited, because I told Reed, I said, if the movie's bad, it is your responsibility to burn that place to the ground. And it didn't happen, so it's a good movie.
Good. That's what I like to hear. I had high hopes for Suicide Squad and a couple of the other DC properties, and that never seems to happen. But the Marvel ones seem to they seem to be getting stuff nailing it on the head.
Plus, Doctor Strange, probably top 5 favorite comic characters for me, so I'm really fucking excited for this.
He was a little lower on my list. I was a West Coast Avengers fan. I read a lot of weird titles. I read Vigilante for DC. I read West Coast Avengers. I was also a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan in the early Eastman Laird days, like the first 12.
Yeah, Ninja.
Preacher was one of my favorites too, so I'm happy that got made into a show, and I can't wait to see
it. Let's see some random comics that are next to Casey's nightstand right now. Okay, we got Darkhold, the Book of Sin, which just appeared
That's what
Just
you're
appeared
reading
on
when you're in
fucking
bed?
Agents of Shield. Let's see what else is here. I got. Oh, this one's good. Okay, so it's the Marvel hardcover of Miracle Man,
Ooh.
and something pretty hilarious is here because Alan Moore didn't want anything to fucking do with it. So check it out. The story is credited to the original writer.
So he Alan Smithy the comic book?
Fucking Alan Smithy, the comic book. It's tremendous.
That's amazing. I don't know that I've ever seen something like that before. That's pretty great.
Yeah, and each of the hardcovers is like that. It's good times.
Well, guess what, folks? Right now, it is payback time. Season 3, Episode 7 of Lucha Underground, titled Payback Time. And we get kicked off right off the bat with this Puma I'd rather die segment with Vampiro. He doesn't want Vampiro's help. He'd rather die by his own hands than live by Vampiro's or something. Like, what is going on here, man? I thought we were going to get some Puma dark, and now he's trying to talk like a babyface.
You know what happened is I think that Iron Man match, the all night long that he had with Johnny Mundo, where he got hit in the head with the crowbar, I think that actually made Puma retarded. It makes sense. That happened before he Cerro Miedo'd me in the face, too.
That is great, by the way. Does somebody have a GIF of that? I need that GIF.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Hook it up,
Don't
man.
send it, Hoke. I don't think Hoke listens to our show. I think he's too busy being scared of us in career mode.
Yeah, he's stuck us in career mode on 2K7. I do want to say, I do want to add to the Doctor Strange spoilers that we didn't get to say what our Twitter handles were in case you want to send Casey tweets about a movie.
Me and Casey got that out. We're good.
So if you want to tweet about Doctor Strange and what happens in the movie, it's at Lucha Gringo. And as often as possible, the DMs should be open.
And Byron is known on Twitter as at Rumble War.
No. I blocked that dude. He was trying to tweet me spoilers, but he couldn't even spell his own name right. That guy is really.
I know that's you trying to work all of this, Byron. You're not fooling anyone.
Oh, is that one of your side accounts that you use to vote for yourself in polls, Byron?
No, you know what all those are.
Yeah.
You're the one who's trying to get MMM Show to vote for you.
Damn it.
You're very closely monitoring. But yeah, I'm at Byron.
I got 2 words for
stuff,
you.
So find me. Yeah.
I shared
Anyways,
this. Dustin, I shared.
Puma is talking a lot more and he's growling a lot more, and I think he is getting kind of dark, but you need to also look at this is a results-based industry, and Vampiro basically he started a big old fight with Pentagon, and then he cost him the championship. And so basically Vampiro isn't really doing all that much besides taking dudes into caves and hanging them by things and hitting them with barbed wire bats, Hey,
Puma, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get an erection.
Well, it's just Puma, I think, is still going a little Puma dark, but because he's also fighting with more hate in his heart now than he was before.
Well, and maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is a Jedi or a Sith kind of turning to the dark side thing here, where Vampiro's not even necessarily trying to get Puma to agree with him, because that's kind of a peaceful pacifist thing to do. He wants to get him to disagree and to be angry, to try to fight like he's a good guy, but then that just brings out the anger more, which brings him closer to the dark side.
Yes.
Look, man, if you're not willing to kick someone in the dick, you're not willing to get shit done.
Look, if Vampiro comes out with Puma, I am your father, I will pop so hard. I'll mark out for that. If Vampiro is actually Puma's dad. I mean, because look, Puma's not actually Latino, is he?
Hey!
He's from Boyle Heights.
Jesus, he's not some dude from Paducah, Kentucky. Come on.
I didn't say that, man. I've been to Boyle Heights, man. There's brothers in Boyle Heights. There's white folks in Boyle Heights. There's a lot of Latinos. But, look, this is the most I've ever heard him talk in one segment. And he sounded not very like a LA Latino. He sounded more like he was from, South Central or something.
I think what Justin's saying is that he wants Puma to talk in Justin's Tejano impression voice.
No,
And
no,
that would
thank
just
you.
offend everyone. I'm
I
sorry.
don't remember that reference. Can you refresh my memory?
I think he'd be better off speaking in your Paige or Connor voice.
Oh, Poppy, will you marry me, Poppy?
Oh my God.
Got a tattoo with your name.
I don't know if anyone's really brought up the fact that Paige proposed to Del Rio in public. I think probably.
And he said yes, and he's still
Of course
married.
he said yes. He had to say yes.
Married.
It would have been his whole thing would have come crushing down. Like her family is one of the few companies that's paying him for shows still. You know,
Well,
it's like
they're against the marriage, dude. Her dad said, "I do not want him marrying this man." He
Yeah.
came out on social media.
yeah, which is hilarious. But like he had to say yes, but I think he also was eager or he was okay with doing it because he is still technically married. So if he says yes, he doesn't have to be held to it.
Oh,
Look, I'm just happy he's El
Presidente.
Presidente. I'm just happy he's El Presidente of Kombacha Americas. You know, he's getting in the MMA game as a promoter. I think
Did
that's
the Bumblebee
very
show up?
Stealing Conan's gig though? Is Conan still doing commentary and stuff on that?
He didn't last time. No, Juliana Pena did color.
I bet Conan got him that gig.
He might have. They're still cool with each other.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Ray Ray's going to be at the opening of his new burrito joint soon.
Hey, and for the record, I don't care how many people Conan has pissed off or who he's friends with or not friends with that listens to this podcast. I love his fucking podcast, and I will mark out for it. I will shill for him. I don't care. I wish his podcast would sponsor our podcast so I could plug him and get paid for it.
what
I love
sucks is a lot of the really good stories are on the Spanish language podcast. Boom. That.
Right.
But what's cool is if you follow Fredo Esparza on Twitter, I think it's at Real Fredo. He's the guy that does the Lucha World podcast. He listens to the podcast and translates it while he's listening to it, and
Which is amazing.
yeah.
I've read some of those transcripts.
so I went from wherever I would have gotten like one of every other word of that thumbtack story. I got the whole thing from Fredo, and fucking hilarious.
Anyway, it's keeping it 100 if you're English speaker to listen to Conan's show. It's what, Boom?
Yeah, podcast Boom.
Podcast Boomers. If you speak Spanish.
And if your Spanish sucks like mine, I'm sorry. My Spanish sucks. But, that's why you follow Fredo, and he translates. He also translates CMLL Informa for you, which is a weekly news show that CMLL does, interviewing wrestlers and stuff like that. And a lot of times really funny shit happens. So, yeah, he's like a Twitter account I want to shout out for sure.
So here's my question for you guys, getting back to the episode. Do we really think that there's a real final heel turn coming for Prince Puma, or do you think that this is kind of some sleight of hand by Lucha Underground? I still don't know. And I'm going to say this too, just like we said at the top of the podcast, we word a lot of these tapings, and I still didn't necessarily know from the tapings because you're not seeing these backstage angles. I really don't know where this is going. I kind of want him to, but at the same time, I'm looking at the whole roster and I'm trying to figure out, how many pure baby faces are left in Lucha Underground?
The trios champs, and that's it pretty much. If you think about it, because
Sexy Star.
Yeah, I don't count her as a human being.
Sexy Star is a pure baby.
You believe Son of Havoc.
Vinny is a pure baby.
Well, Son of Havoc is now, but
Son
did
of
he
Havoc.
actually start off as a pure baby face? I don't think he
did not.
did.
Him and
No,
Elise
he didn't.
were heels.
Oh,
And then,
Masquerita.
and Helico
And Helico.
also kind of started as a heel. Masquerita, Phoenix, Aerostar, and Drago, baby faces from the beginning.
And Sexy Star, even though you don't want to admit it.
And the Mac.
He's always a heel in my eyes. Yeah, the Mac, except when he was helping Sexy Star, that kind of healed him.
Just to you.
Yeah.
Well, so do you think, this was the guy that was supposed to be the quintessential Boyle Heights babyface. Do we really think that he's going to full heel turn? And is it too soon for that? He's not Hogan yet.
Bless
I don't
you.
know. I also don't know if that's how it really works at that place in the card. I mean, you have Mil Muertes, who's a bad guy, and you have Katrina, who's a bad lady, and they get cheered like crazy unless they go up against
awesome.
unless they go up against but you know, it's all about where they line up in the equation that's being presented. Like, we cheered for them. I cheered for them to beat up Puma. Ultima Lucha won, but now I'm cheering for Puma. It's all about what's being presented at the time. And then I was getting
give back those fucking Mil Muertes,
but then, like, when they go up against, you know, Dario, you cheer Dario and you boo them. But then if it's Dario and Matanza, then what do you do? You know, it's all about specific situations being presented to you. Like, it's hard to have just with the appreciation that we have for everything in Lucha Underground. Everyone will end up getting cheered because of their effort and the quality of their work.
Well, speaking of Dario and facing off against Dario and the Monster, let's go for a spin on Dario's Dial of Doom.
Did my name come up this time?
No, Mundo's no, it didn't. He was so close. Johnny was so close. He was right there, but it's Killshot, a bona fide American hero, as Dario said, which I love. I love that Dario was putting him over in the temple, but I get that because at the time, I don't think much information was really given to us live about Killshot. Like, I don't even think we had seen the 37 Kills promo by that point in time.
No,
we just saw him liking dog tags a lot. But
yeah,
I wish
after the WMD match,
American hero. Like, if he called him a real American hero, I would have been even happier, because that would mean that Killshot is Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes is the shit.
It would have meant that he's Hulk Hogan under the mask doing another Mr. USA gimmick.
No, that's just a real American, not a real American hero. Come on, get your wrestling history down, Byron.
Oh, like the song and Drive.
Anyway, so this is great. I'm seeing Killshot's name come up. I'm like, sweet, we're going to have a brother wearing some gold. You know how hard it is for brothers to get gold in the wrestling business.
Oh, yeah.
You know, especially
Dude, the Godfather had all kinds of gold chains around.
Hey, Ron Simmons.
Not gold chains.
Ron Simmons was a world champ. Is that not enough for you?
I'm just talking, you know, statistically, overall time of reign with gold. Look, New Day is balancing out the scales tremendously with their 7 million day run as tag champs, but, you know.
Does The Rock count, or does he count as Samoan?
We'll take him. We'll take him. His daddy is black.
Mm-hmm.
We get him.
First black tag team champion, Rocky Johnson, right there. Boom.
Boo.
Right.
There you go.
Okay.
Him
anyway.
With Tony Atlas. There you go. Casey knows wrestling history.
So this next segment, you have Dario introducing the wheel, and Killshot gets a shot at the title, and he loses.
Wait, that's all you're going to give me? First of all, Killshot is a bump machine, which we haven't really seen a lot of opportunities before WMD for him to show the other side of wrestling, which is taking a beating and selling it and making it look good and putting the other guy over to a certain extent. I thought that he did a better job of putting over Matanza's moves than a lot of guys that Matanza has faced. And I was honestly very surprised by that. I thought that the work rate with those two wasn't going to be very interesting. And it turns out it was. And I give a lot of that credit to Killshot because, you know, Matanza did what Matanza does. And the onus is on the other guy to make what Matanza does look devastating. And I think that happened here.
I felt that Killshot did a way better job than Son of Havoc did.
The Wrath of the Gods looked amazing. Like, sometimes it looks
Dude,
like
and that
a weird
tombstone
power
spot
slam.
too was the shit.
That tombstone spot was amazing.
That was awesome.
Oh, but they didn't do it. I thought they were going to do it. Killshot seems like the kind of guy who's like, why don't you pile drive me off the top rope?
And Killshot was still sporting his scars from the WMD match. And if you are listening to the show and you haven't watched that, I believe the match is up in its entirety on YouTube. So go and watch it. This episode that we're talking about right now is also up in its entirety on YouTube, though I don't think Lucha Underground posted it, so it might get pulled down.
No, it's not a legit full episode, that's for sure.
They normally just do the main event.
You know what? I'm gonna call out all you filthy pirates and say, just watch it on fucking iTunes. Pay your money.
Well, and Lucha Underground post enough of it themselves too. Like you can see most of the big matches on YouTube. If you can't get El Rey or don't know how to find the show, just go and watch some of these matches on YouTube because on the regular El Rey feed, because they're amazing and they always put up the best ones. You know, they know that they can't get every eyeball on the actual network right now, so they're pretty cool about posting a lot of high quality stuff. You could sit down for 2 days and watch the El Rey feed of Lucha Underground and see some amazing stuff in wrestling that you probably will blow your mind.
Yeah, you usually get one match a show.
Yeah.
And but if it's Aztec Warfare, I think for the first one they posted the whole match, but the second one they just posted like from when Matanza came in, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, good match. It did turn into a squash. I was hoping that Killshot could maybe come out with some gold, but you know, we realistically we knew it was a long shot, but Killshot's still one of my very favorite wrestlers in the entire game anywhere. Oh, the spot that I loved in this one was Matanza doing this spear with a European uppercut. Whoa, what the, like Cesaro better be watching and trying to steal that move because that shit was amazing. That was the best European uppercut of the year right there.
Cesaro has nothing on that. One of my favorite parts about the match was a very old school element they added to it with the bandage on Killshot's back, because that was like very much like Jerry Lawler back on the day dropping the straps. Like that's when he was firing up. So he's about to hit his big move, and he's like, I'm taking this bandage off. It's holding me back, even though there was nothing on his back underneath it. But it was,
of course there was.
But it was a nice added old school element to storytelling, I think.
Speaking of storytelling, get to the good part, Justin.
All right. The good part is Dario was there yelling the whole time. Is that the best part you're talking about?
No, I was talking about those awesome punches we saw.
Okay, look. There was a debut tonight of one AR Fox who will, after this point, most likely never be known as AR Fox again because I'm hoping that this season of Lucha Underground makes this dude famous. But you could briefly hear Killshot say his new name in the background, which was Dante. So we can say that his character's name is Dante. It's going to be Dante Fox, and he is debuting. And this is a very strange angle because we just saw the end of Season 2 all the way into the WMD match at the beginning of this, how important these dog tags are to Killshot and how hard he fought to get his dog tags back. Here's another guy who comes in, military fatigues or kind of civvy.
Just like Killshot.
Civvy. What, are you saying all black people look alike, Byron? You're
just like Killshot.
He doesn't look just like Killshot.
But he's not wearing a mask. They might have the same face. You don't know that.
Yeah, no. He doesn't look anything like Killshot. Anyway, so...
No, he's dressed like him.
Right. No, he's dressed like him. You didn't say dressed like. You said looked like.
Killshot wears wrestling gear. He wears fucking fatigues. Jesus.
He's wearing fatigue pants. Anyway,
I'm going to Byron a job recapping for FIFA Online.
Can I get to the actual point of what I was trying to say, Byron? The point of what I was trying to say is that
they're the same person.
No, that this guy, unlike Killshot, who's been fighting for his dog tags, he comes in and he gives his up. He takes his off and he's like, boom, you left me for dead, and drops his dog tags on this dude. Like that's
right.
That storyline wise is a big deal. It's like, whoa, what did Killshot do to this guy that something that a military guy would normally be clinging to and be one of the most important things to him, that he would just give that up and throw it in his face like, you left me for dead, fool. That's some big stuff.
And
he left him in Vietnam in that
the note that he sent in with Joey Ryan looks like he wrote it when he was still in the Middle East, and then he just carried it with him.
What's this Middle East shit? We all decided that this was from Vietnam. We all decided this.
How old are they? They're not 70 years old.
Black don't crack, bro. Come on.
Whatever. We found out Drago is 1,000 years old. Why can't they be older?
So he said his name, Dante. They do the dog tags, and Killshot says, I thought you were dead. And then Dante says, Straight Jacket Brainbuster? That was
the Straight Jacket Fisherman Buster.
Yeah,
he got the leg too, and this was
pretty devastating.
It was more brutal live because they had to do it like 50 times.
Oh, did
I
they?
don't want to take that bump more than once, but Killshot did, so props. There's going to be some interesting live notes this week, by the way.
Yeah, I bet there are. What'd you think of the beatdown in the fisticuffs afterwards?
I think that they should have stuck with the first camera angle, like we discussed off the air, because let's not expose the business with the punches, please.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, they did a good job of concealing the hand clap on the kick, but then it goes right to the punches, and you're like, oh, what kind of 1983 wrestling is this? And honestly, I was pissed because I was seeing people on Twitter talking smack about Fox's debut and being soft and weak because of that camera angle. And it's like, dude, that was a great debut. The storyline was written perfectly. It's not like he's going to actually punch the dude in the face. And yeah, there was just a bad camera angle for that spot to me.
Yeah, and plus, I'm not bullshitting. I said this on the EVW episode, so the widest audience that we've probably had did hear this. AR Fox, by the end of the season, becomes my second favorite wrestler in Lucha Underground behind Pentagon Jr.
Yeah.
I'm not bullshitting. And it is this feud that you need to watch. So don't talk shit unless you know what's going on, bitches. Sup?
Well, that's all right, because I know that there's time for people's minds to be changed and to be changed for the right reasons and the right way. Like, we've got the start of a great angle. I loved him dropping the dog tags. I thought that this worked perfectly. Killshot needs an opponent because I think Marty, him and Marty, that feud had a clean finish and is done. So this is great. I love Killshot. I'm glad to see he's in a great angle. If you know anything about AR Fox, he's a great guy for Killshot to be working with. And AR Fox, watch some of his CZW stuff. Amazing, crazy, and also very ECW-ish. And, if you listen to this show, I'm a huge ECW mark. So I hope that he brings a little bit of that style, and maybe not the full CZW, war room death match kind of thing, but some skewers in the head here and there could be interesting, or maybe some tacks or bullets or ladder spots or tables, or I think there's a little bit of room in Lucha Underground for some of that. Like, I like promotions when they can mix it up and they can have some extreme wrestling mixed with some classic mat stuff and some chain wrestling. I do feel like Lucha Underground's missing a little bit of chain wrestling this season, though, by the way. That's
I want to
me.
also add to that you should really check out AR Fox in Beyond Wrestling. He has so many crazy dives, and I've been personally really impressed by it.
You know what my favorite thing about AR Fox is that, like, you're watching a wrestling match and you're like, they set up a spot and it's going to get reversed because you're like, this is stupid. No one would take that bump. They're going to reverse it. He's the one that actually does that shit. And so it's like, you're like, okay, so anything can happen in his fucking match that gets a spot set up for it because he's crazy enough to do this shit. And I just love it. And him and Killshot mesh well together because they both train together, which is...
What are you trying to say?
Look for good things, I think, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
And it is kind of a traditional wrestling thing, though, that, like, if you're the guy that sets up the spot, you're the guy that's going to take the spot normally. But that's makes sense because you're setting it up for yourself. You want the stuff where you want it to take the bump the right way. So there's a lot of that. But honestly, in an AR match, good luck figuring out who's going to take the spot or how.
Cesaro and Sheamus, how Cesaro set up, making it look like he's going to do the deadlift suplex off the top rope to the floor. And you're like, Sheamus isn't going to fucking take that shit. AR Fox would take that shit. Second time Cesaro's mentioned on this podcast.
That's because Cesaro's fucking over. Don't get it twisted.
And he was at the Doctor Strange premiere. Jimmy told us. He said what up to Cesaro at the premiere. So Cesaro's seen fucking Doctor Strange and I haven't. What's up with that? He's not even American.
He's over. You need to get more over. Anyway, let's move on. Rabbit Tribe promo. Better late than never. Damn, this rabbit is fast. That's all I'm going to say. Now we get him running through the woods or whatever. Apparently he's late for a very important date, and that is to get on Lucha Underground television already, damn it.
Yeah, according to my cable guide, they were supposed to be there like 2 fucking weeks ago. Come on.
Yeah, like a Rabbit Tribe shirt real bad.
TikTok means, like, get your ass in gear, right? They're reminding themselves, like, or maybe the Rabbit Tribe is high. maybe they're high and they were supposed to show up and they got waylaid.
I could see them being high. Yeah.
They're having their own Cheech and Chong adventure.
I just call it like they were planning to come in and have a match or whatever, and then they had a safety meeting to make sure everything was going to go smoothly, and then they just never showed up.
They're just right now. They're in San Diego, eating burrito pizzas on the beach, watching people do yoga.
Burrito taco pizzas, Byron.
Byron, have you updated the tribe listing that we had on the belt? Because I think this is officially our last tribe that wasn't on there, right?
I have, and I tweeted it yesterday. If today is Friday, I tweeted it on Thursday. So hopefully the MMA Show Twitter account will retweet it.
And that's not gospel, folks, but check it out. That's kind of
when Twitter works.
We have all the tribes on. We have all the medallions filled out, so you know who they represent, and it's kind of cool. We found out that we have Drago and Cobra Moon. We just found that out, so I updated that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is another segment we can get to. We can actually talk about that segment now. We don't have to do this shit in order by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh wait, no, wait. We gotta do it in order.
Wait.
The next match was fucked up, and I really.
All right, well, Byron is the one that's jumping the gun. Then just tell us about the belts.
I'm talking about the picture I made.
All right.
Yeah.
So what is the next?
Apologize for Byron's lack of Photoshop knowledge and skill, and his face.
Well, I didn't see you doing anything.
Well, first we got to get to Dario's Aztec Warfare 3 promo, which was dope. He basically said flat out, like, after Killshot, I don't think there's anyone on this roster who can beat Matanza. Totally no-selling fucking Mundo again, which I love. Poor Mundo.
Well, also, the Puma actually beat him, but then Mil Muertes saved him.
Yeah, but look.
Come on. He would have kicked out at 2. Come on, Byron.
But here's the real question. What is it with Dario? And again, this might be another one of those like evil Emperor Palpatine kind of things here. Why is he trying to put his brother into this kind of challenge? Is Dario just getting bored with the level of violence in his temple? Is he really trying to up the ante, or is he trying to get the belt off his brother?
I think he likes watching his brother beat people up.
Yeah, if you get bored seeing your brother fuck up one person at a time, why not see him fuck up 19 people?
I think this is a brotherly love thing where, he wants to see him win, feels like he can win, but also because they're brothers, he wants to fuck with him a little bit. Like, he wants to mess with him. He's like, oh, you're my big, tough, bad brother that squashes everybody. How about you try to squash a whole bunch of dudes at once?
Well,
how much you gotta fuck with your brother? Wait, how much do you have to fuck with your brother if you make him live in a cage and shit in a prison toilet? Like,
that's true.
Yeah, but if you've gone that far, why would you ever stop?
Good point.
You know, you got to up the ante, man. Dario seems like the kind of guy who's very competitive. He's trying to top himself. He's just trying to beat himself at this point.
But Dario loves violence, and the best fix that he can get with violence is through his brother. You know, and last time, Matanza beat everyone up, including Rey Mysterio, one of the top guys. He beat almost the whole roster himself, and basically Dario's like, well, I want you to do that the whole match this time.
Now, but I ask you this question. Is it really Dario that loves violence, or is he beholden to someone else to create violence? Is he feeding an Aztec god with this violence? Is it really for him? Is he feeding the limo guy? Is this strengthening someone else's mystical powers by having all this violence take place on this ancient Aztec symbol? Because that's kind of my theory now, is that it might not even really be Dario. Dario may be beholden to, or his family may be beholden to, a greater power that forces him into a situation where he has to create this violence to keep feeding the machine that he's become a part of.
No, totally, because when Bale died, he said the gods need a sacrifice.
Yeah. It's possible. I think we'll find more about that out next week with the episode preview that we're going to pitch in the middle of this episode review. It says, I just looked at the YouTube, and Justin, you're doing this. You're talking about this.
Yeah.
It's a little bit delayed. I just got a glimpse of, I was bringing up the preview, and I thought in my peripheral, I thought you were going like this to me.
Oh, I was telling you to stop. I was giving you the universal cut yourself off at the
From
head.
like 10 seconds ago?
Yeah, babe. No, I wasn't.
But is it Delgado is supposed to show up and interact with Dario next week, so I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, and
So
we
we'll
got
talk more
Aztec
about-
Warfare coming up, and having seen all 3 Aztec Warfares,
That's going to be the week before Thanksgiving.
I really
too,
like
which
the
is
first
awesome.
2 Aztec Warfares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
We'll see. So the things that come out of this segment that are important are Phoenix is not going to be number 1 because Dario has slated his brother to be that, and the Super Friends have to fight for the sweet spot, as we'll call it, number 20. But the 2 Super Friends that lose in a 3-way match against each other are gone. They're not in this thing at all, unless they win their way in some other way. But
All I know is, what we were saying about there not being a lot of pure baby faces in the temple. We forgot Rey Mysterio, by the way, but and
Mysterio.
Dragon Azteca. But
Yeah, that's
Ray
true.
Ray.
yeah, there
And
goes
maybe
2
that's
of
why
them.
they don't. But that may be why they don't need Puma to be a pure babyface anymore. So,
But yeah, dude,
I think Puma's
this shit was fucked up.
Puma's the hometown hero for Lucha Underground, and Lucha Underground is one of those shades of gray type environments. So I think Puma's
This match, you see it on TV, right? But it was one of the most fucked up, gross things that I've seen in person.
Super Kick City. You're talking about Phoenix's nose.
Phoenix's nose was. I've been to a lot of boxing. I've never been to MMA shows, but I've been to boxing. I've sat close to boxing. Phoenix's nose breaking was the worst one I've ever seen in person.
Now, so my question is, when did it happen? Because there was a super kick that looked like it landed on his face. Then there was a spot where he was lying down on his face, but he took a bump onto his back or something, and it smashed his face into the canvas. That looked like it might have done it. I don't know, because at some point he's just rolled over on the side, gushing out of his face. So do you know when it happened?
I don't know, but I think there was a spot where both Aerostar and Drago landed on him at the same time.
Yeah, I think that was it.
And face up.
If you go back, rewind it, he does hold his face ow, this hurts for real, and he rolled out of the ring. There was that moment.
And when he rolled out of the ring, he just goes fucking and blood fucking goes everywhere.
He sneezes his nose off
Well,
his face.
no, he did the exact thing that you're not supposed to do with a broken nose, which I know from kickboxing, is you don't blow it out, because your whole face can blow up, your whole orbital can swell up. Like, you've seen this happen in a few fights in MMA. If you watch MMA, the guy breaks his nose, then you blow it and you think it's going to clear everything out, but what it does is it creates the backup of the flow up in here, and you push half of it back up into your head, depending on how your nose is broken. There are times when you can clear it out and you might be okay, and your whole face blows up, and then you're in the middle of a fight and you can't see.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what was going on with Phoenix's face under the mask there, but clearly he had a broken nose or something pretty bad under there, and he kept going. Now, you were there, Casey, so did he roll out and then, I mean, obviously they did work some Aerostar Drago stuff for a while there, but he rolled back in at some point. Like, how long was that little rest period for him?
Not very long. It kind of kept going. This match was longer in person, but as you would expect from someone getting their face fucking shattered during a match. But he was working it a lot. But I know he ended up missing WrestleMania weekend because of the timing of this.
Oh yeah, that was right around the end of March there, right?
Yeah, and he was supposed to do the shows that they do around WrestleMania, like the WrestleCon shit, and. Yeah, dude, that was bad. But I have a pro tip for any masked professional wrestlers out there, by the way. If you're the one guy that gets his nose shattered, is walking around with tape on your nose, you might not want to walk around without your mask on, because people are going to know which guy you are.
He's honestly
he's not too careful about that, actually.
No. Of luchadors out there, I've seen him a few times, and he's easier for me to recognize than a lot of guys. But the funny thing about it is, he's also more paranoid about being recognized than a lot of other guys.
Yeah, because if you look at him in his face, he kind of makes a face at you like, "Stop looking at me, dude. I know you know who I am. Don't say shit."
Yeah, and it's bro, I'm not gonna break yours. I don't care. Like, I don't need to talk to you right now.
Phoenix duck face without the mask on.
Hey, that's all conjecture at this point. But
What?
Well,
I
he
mean, still
definitely
make
was
it.
the guy with the nose bandage and the black eyes. But yeah, oh man.
But dude, the
He-
ladies know who he is too, because he's a handsome fella, and most of the ladies know which luchadors are the handsome guys. I mean, he's one of them. They're all over his ass. His
Let me
secret is
tell
not
you guys
safe.
something. Drago is a beautiful man underneath his mask.
Is he?
All
I've
right.
never seen Drago. I wouldn't know.
Speaking of Drago, he won with that flippy DDT that I love. That was awesome.
Let's put it this way: Drago used to wrestle as a heartthrob
Oh,
Michael
I love
Jackson
him.
impersonator and a heartthrob Spice Boy and a heartthrob Barrio Boy. And so for the longest time, he didn't wear a mask. But then they made him a battery cat and a dragon. Because Lucha is awesome, and that like whose other career could you describe like that? Come on, that's fucking great.
It is great, and honestly, I was stoked to see Drago go over here. I love Drago getting the win. I love him getting slot number. Well, I take it back. I kind of love him getting slot number 20. I almost think it's a bad move because he's such a good worker in big matches like that can do the high spots in the middle of the match. Him coming in at 20 kind of sucks a little bit just because you're not going to get to see as much of Drago as you would normally get to see in a match like this. But gives him a better chance of winning. So, and I love Drago. I'm a huge Drago fan.
It's a second big opportunity at winning the big gold belt in the temple. And I think that the odds are pretty much in his favor at this point.
It kind of sucks
I don't know if
Aerostar's not going to be in Aztec Warfare, though, because if you have 19 people, Aerostar could jump off of something like really high and have all 19 people catch him, you know?
Well, and Phoenix, I mean, he's your Triple Crown champ, and like maybe there's a way for these guys to still work a spot. You never know with Dario. Maybe he's got another unique opportunity for them lined up. Even though he said that they would be out, you never know with Dario. Maybe there's still a chance for them to win an entry. And I would put
because Drago's supposed to be retired and never returning to the temple right now, and he came back like a month later. So yeah.
Yeah, well, he won his way back in. He got a unique opportunity. So, but I would say right now, as it stands, Drago is the favorite to beat Matanza because Matanza's got to go through 19 other guys to even get to Drago. And I think that even as big and powerful as Matanza is, 19 guys is a long road. But I will say this. I will say this, depending on who gets slot 17 or 18 or some of those other later slots will determine whether or not Drago can stay the favorite to win this thing. Because if you get somebody – you get like Pentagon at 17 or 18 or somewhere in there, your chances go way down, Drago, buddy. Sorry. And there's a couple
in the last one, was he?
No, they didn't let him in.
They might not let him in this time, but I'm just saying for Drago's sake, I hope that he doesn't draw, somebody super tough like that at one of the later slots because that could spell trouble, especially if Matanza's already out before then. Oh. And then you got some fresh other guy that doesn't have to deal with the monster. Like you get a Mil Muertes at 18 or 19. Oh, you're screwed. That is it,
and
man.
If you're 20 and Matanza's still in there, all you motherfuckers need to pin Matanza at the same time. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm hoping for some good gang ups here. Unless Matanza starts eliminating guys the second they get in. We'll see.
Which we've seen happen. He beat more than half of the Battle Royal last time. So...
All right, now can we talk about this segment? Let's talk about where this Drago thing is going. First of all, this is the best start to a vignette ever on Lucha Underground. Yeah. I am all for more vignettes that start with Thunder Rosa, Cobra Moon, whatever, slithering across the floor in any fashion. I am completely fine with that. We don't need to talk about the rest of this segment.
Gross, dude. That was a fucking bathroom, and she had to, crawl around in that shit.
Yeah, I don't advise that.
Let alone a bathroom wrestlers use. Let alone a bathroom Vinny Massaro uses.
Gave away the ending of the whole vignette, but it's also keeping in line with how we only see Drago backstage in the bathroom.
Which they know. We've all made fun of it. I mean, they're doing that on purpose at this point in time, right?
But he's a dragon, though.
Yeah, because he has
cool
IBS.
Places. Maybe he likes the tile or whatever.
No, Krista Joseph told us it's good for his skin, but that's a nice way of saying that Drago has irritable bowel syndrome, and sometimes he's just got a shit, man.
Which is fine. But so Thunder Rosa knows Cobra Moon. Sorry, Casey. Case Fabe. Cobra Moon knows where to find him. And again, we got to talk about the slither across the floor because that's really the important thing here, isn't it?
Yeah, she had to slither through like day-old piss that Jack Evans didn't shake off correctly.
Yeah. And he doesn't even wash his hands, by the way. That's another thing we learned.
No, and he's always got to show off, so he's like standing on his head taking a piss and shit, and there's no control when you do that.
So Cobra Moon confronts Drago because
let me get there in a second because I got to talk some more about Cobra Moon first, case or Byron. Here's the thing: the affectations now are going past the body movement, and she's laying on the S's in her speech pattern as well, which is a
like
nice
Cobra
touch.
Commander.
Yeah, but she's not overdoing it either. She's not making it super ridiculous. She's not like I think Skip did a good job of probably pulling it back to the right amount in the directing of the scene. But it's great, and I'm just thinking to myself the whole time, like, thank God she doesn't have Dario's Spanish accent because there would be a whole lot of THs and not a lot of S's.
I highly approve of anything that invokes the image of Cobra Commander in any way, shape, or form because he is the greatest of the cartoon villains. I'm sorry, Skeletor, I love you, but it's just true. If you're listening, yes. Skeletor.
Okay, so now what were you saying about what she had to actually say? I've done my bit here, Byron. You can talk now.
She's coming up to Drago. We find out they're from the same tribe, and she's like, "Hey, good to see you again. We're in the same tribe."
No, say it right.
We're gonna kick some ass.
Say it right.
And Drago and his
we're gonna kick some ass.
Says, "I left it 1,000 years ago," and then so we find out that Drago's super old. So now, like, who's the youngest? How old is everyone in the temple?
I just think it's funny that the one guy they make super old is Drago because he kind of is.
Yeah,
it makes sense. He's a vet.
So, something's beginning to happen there, which is very interesting. And then we found Vinny in the bathroom eating pizza.
Wait! You've already like botched this whole thing. She asked Drago to bring the gold back to our tribe, and he says that he left the tribe 1,000 years ago. You got that part right, but she wants the gold. And here's my other weird thing about this, though. He's already got gold. He's got the trios belt right now. How come she's not trying to draw the trios belt in? Or maybe that's part of it. Maybe she thinks Drago can bring all the gold back to the tribe. And this also brings into question our characterization of the tribe as the snake tribe. Is this more just a reptile tribe?
All I know is a snake is a snake, a reptile is a reptile. But let me tell you something, Justin. There's only one thing that we're forgetting, the most important thing. Vinny Massaro.
Okay, let's talk about Vinny
That's Massaro. What I brought up.
No, but the best thing is when he fucking comes in and he's like, "Oh shit, sorry, I thought this was the men's room because Cobra Moon's in there." That's fucking hilarious.
That is funny. Great. Everything about Vinny was the best part of the episode.
Oh, and if you're listening, Jeremy Peoples of Figure4Online.com, and I don't think you're listening because then you would actually know your shit. That wasn't some guy. That was Vinny Massaro, and he wasn't eating a fucking burrito. He was eating a pizza that just happened to sound a little crunchy.
Look, and unless you want like 17 podcasts mad at you because Vinny is so over on the podcast from guesting on like 5 of them every week that unless you want every other podcast mad at you, don't disparage Vinny Massaro, man. You can't do that. You cannot get mad at the snoring elbow.
Do not disparage TwitWow's Vinny Massaro. And also, I have to say
that reference.
It doesn't matter. I got the reference, Byron. It's funny.
Bringing food into the bathroom's gross as fuck, bro. Dario's got to get one of those shelves like on that episode of The League. Byron knows what I'm talking about.
It's a shelf that goes above the urinal. You put your drink on it while you pee so that you don't have to set your food down on the ground under the urinal. That is not
what J-Man told me that is for. J-Man told me specifically that was for something completely different than that, Byron.
That's what you put your food and your drink on so you can
No, but then on The League they did better and made it outside the bathroom so shit particles don't get on your cheesecake.
I was told specifically that shelf had to be right about nose level.
I don't get it.
It's the wrong kind of bathroom, Justin.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Dude, you see how dirty this bathroom is? You'd inhale like 10 pubes. It's disgusting.
So you guys have more problems with the hygiene of the bathroom. What if this is the cleanest bathroom in the world? Like you guys have a problem with
Look at
Copeland
it!
slithering across the floor, Vinny eating in there, Drago clearly emptying his colostomy bag or whatever he has to do in there all the time. Like you guys are really obsessed with this bathroom hygiene thing.
Dude, have you ever seen a dragon take a shit? It's horrible.
Now look, I'll tell you what would clear me out of the bathroom. Vinny's gassy ass. That would clear me out of the bathroom. And that was the end of the segment. That will pretty much end any segment.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of them going for the kind of, I mean, the very lowbrow slapstick humor? I mean, we have an actual fart joke in Lucha Underground now, and some people were not happy with it. But...
Dude, I think Vinny just boofed one and they left it in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if he did a couple of different takes and he's sitting there eating that dollar pizza from up at the gas station in Boyle Heights there, that could very easily happen.
Yeah, there's no pizza places around the temple other than the gas station, so... Ooh.
Oh, no, there's a 76 station. Yeah, that's the pizza shop.
Yeah. I hope they told him he was eating gas station pizza before he started filming.
I think he probably brought it with him. I don't think that was provided by Lucha Underground because it would have been a bagel bite.
That's true.
Yeah.
Vinny, why weren't you eating bagel bites? You could have had like a handful of them.
I don't think he got craft services in his contract for the day.
I heard that he was in line after Cage and there just wasn't any food left.
I can see that.
That guy eats a lot of food. He's also very interesting on social media, but we can get into that another time.
The other thing I want to point out... The other thing I want to point out in this segment is that Drago has 6 fillings.
Yeah.
And we have now met them all by name after that roar. Boy, that shot was right up in a man's cavities. That was incredible.
Yeah, Byron freeze framed that for reasons.
No, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about.
He likes that little sound.
Get some Windex for his TV. Yeah, next segment.
This goes into another vignette, which I like to call a desperate man. And that man is not just any man. He's a mundo. Johnny whines awesome. A lot. It was great.
It's a really cool, what is it? It was a really cool thing for the fans that have been watching the show from the beginning. Because especially for like season 1, you don't really talk about or remember much before season 1 Aztec Warfare. That's when it really took off. But the whole briefcase full of money was that was a really big like opening storyline for Lucha
Right,
Underground.
but the real question here is, Byron, how come me and Casey never got our cut of the $5,667 that was paid off from those internet photos that you posted of Mundo?
Because you guys weren't the ones who had to take the photo.
Okay.
Went to
good point. Totally good point. Totally valid. I'll move on. So basically, Johnny's got $94,373 left, right, after you cash that check?
Yeah. Well, now Dario has it because Johnny Mundo tried to intimidate. He's too beautiful of a man to intimidate. And so he tried to find another way to get a shot and to get the championship, and that's by bribery.
And this just shows how brilliant Dario is. Like, I feel like Dario has been holding him back on purpose because he almost knew that Johnny was just going to give him the money back. It's like the man is untouchable. He can book any angle he wants. He can give a guy $100,000 and get it back. It's amazing.
Mundo punched him in the fucking eye, dude. He hasn't liked him since then. Come on.
Well, given. And who does? Johnny's a heel. He's a terrible, terrible
fuck
person.
You, Johnny Mundo.
He's a cool arrow. Puto.
Oh, hey, whoa. Say that.
Whoa.
What?
You don't want to say those things. You can't say that on El Rey.
Just say fuck you, Johnny. We're allowed to say that.
Started censoring Spanish curse words. Like a week or two ago.
Well, but anyway, so basically he has successfully bought himself, not a title match, not even a title match. He's successfully bought himself a match with the Gift of the Gods champion. We'll just call it the Gift of the Gods champion so Casey doesn't get angry and leave in the middle of the show.
Oh, good.
And now, here's the other thing I noticed. We Dario at the end of the scene was again doing his itsy bitsy spider thing, and I think there's more to this. And him doing it seems very intentional. It seems like not something that is the actor doing it or whatever, but it's like part of the character for him to do this little thing.
He's trying to do the Animo sign, but he keeps fucking up because it's a hard sign to do. Phoenix needs to pick easier hand signs.
What is it? It's like
Animo,
like this.
No, it's not like that. Our audio listeners are missing out right now. That's all I can tell you guys. Sorry.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Check out Casey's shirt. Isn't that weird?
What does your shirt say, Casey?
It's an Ant-Man shirt. It's got Ant-Man on it.
And,
the only superhero with a penis the same size as Byron's.
Byron, what does your shirt say?
God. My shirt says pause.
PAWS, not like pause button, but like
PWS. It's a sweet ass shirt.
It's a cat that looks like Jaws.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm just riding with El Rey today.
I
was given this very nice shirt by the El Rey Network at an event that Byron didn't get one at because they appreciate me and not him.
No, because you were standing closer to the box.
No, this was payment for using my face in that commercial.
They used my face when all the episodes I get.
They thought you were TJ.
Yeah.
They sent him the shirt.
Yeah, he wears it on this season of Silicon Valley. Great show. Byron fucked up his TJ Miller Halloween costume this year. Good job, bro.
I went as him last year.
Yeah,
yeah, you go with him every day for the most part. Mil Muertes versus Puma. Holy smokes. This is a rematch of a match that did not go well for Puma the first time, that saw him drop the title. And we've been waiting to see this rematch for a long, long time. This is pure fire. This is a headline main event. This is the WrestleMania of Lucha Libre. This is Puma versus Mil Muertes. Except there's no belt on the line this time. Ooh.
And Justin, let me tell you something. If this is the WrestleMania of Lucha Libre, the Undertaker of Lucha Libre has to always win.
Unless he runs into a little speed bump every once in 30 or so matches. Just saying.
That didn't count because Brock was on the juice, bro.
We'll see. Yeah. Sure. I don't know if they do that. Do they go back to the stats and fix them like MMA if there's a dispute after the fact?
Wins and losses don't
never
matter.
Champion.
Wins and losses don't matter.
This was a great match. I love that they worked pretty much every style of wrestling in this match. You had flippy shit, you had strong style, you had power moves. And again, I said this a little bit earlier in the episode, the one thing that you were kind of missing is the chain wrestling thing. For a while, for like a 10-year period in wrestling, it was like every match would start off with a good chain wrestling segment, and then you get an applause break from the audience. And like ECW really kind of made this happen, like the Jerry Lynn RVD feud really was the thing where they would do like these 4-minute chain wrestling spots and then the crowd would just stop. But then WWE started doing it and bringing it in, and it was great. And I loved it. Ring of Honor did it a ton. Everybody used to do this. I feel like you don't get those spots anymore. Am I just missing him?
It's a big part of Lucha that's not represented here. Like Pentagon brings a lot of the submission wrestling that you see in Lucha when he gets the opportunity to wrestle that way. But you don't get to see a lot of the mat work that guys like the great fucking El Dandy, which is Spanish for the dandy, brings to the table. Or guys like fucking, like, I mean, come on, like, even if they brought in a dude like Mr. Niebla, his ground game's on point. He does all the cool submissions and shit. I'd say, like, they need a British dude is what they need, but it's too much of a pain in the ass for the show to get a fucking British dude and bring in, like, a Zack Sabre Jr. or a Marty Scurll, who I think would actually be the best for the promotion. Right?
Those are the places where you're still seeing it, and I'm surprised we're not seeing it in more places because it's a great part of the tradition of wrestling, and it adds to the story a lot, and it gets the crowd pumped before you start hitting a lot of big spots too. I think if you do it right, it can be good stuff.
What if they try and get
there's a lot of
for that, and they end up with Wade Barrett, and then they're like, "All right, show us some mat wrestling."
God damn it. I have so much to say, but I can't say it until someone debuts.
We'll get there. Yeah. Just be patient. Be patient. We're 7 episodes in. We'll get there.
Funny thing is, we already recorded a podcast hating on someone that hasn't debuted yet because we recorded live after Ultima Lucha.
Oh yeah, I gotta pull that out from the vault. But too bad that's not video because we switched to video since then. But we'll still drop that podcast anyway. I can't wait to actually go back and listen to it because it's going to be interesting to hear us ranting and raving about something that happened a year ago.
We're going to be sleep-deprived lunatics. That's what we're going to sound like.
We should just film video with that playing, and we can pantomime our parts. It'd be pretty entertaining, probably.
So I like the fact that the crowd did a slightly better job of moving for Mil Muertes. I think the crowd is finally starting to learn. But they were also in your section, Casey, so I feel like you controlled that situation appropriately.
Casey was all over the place. Did you walk down the steps or up the steps at one point?
He had to cross over.
I went by the office, and then they told me to move by the steps, and then Mil Muertes looks right at me and says, "Move." So I fucking moved.
Casey, you were doing the Mil Muertes dance, man.
I had to save Johnny's mom's life from Mil Muertes that day.
I saw that.
She's like, "Casey, he's coming this way. Protect me."
Well, it set up an awesome spot where Puma ran from more than halfway up the freaking bleachers on that side and dove over Casey at that point in time. Like, what the hell? That was crazy.
That was so awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the ones where security went over to us and they're like, "All right, you guys, some shit's going to go down. Be ready to get the fuck out of the way."
Yeah, I love it when they say that.
Well, look, hey, sometimes the element of surprise is not necessary when your safety is involved.
I have made it through 3 seasons without getting crushed by anyone.
The Mac?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was like a run-in.
You'll see me get crushed later this season at one that you weren't at, Casey. You'll enjoy it. I sat in a different spot, too, and it happened to be a spot where there was a bit of live action going that I hadn't anticipated, and I almost got a luchador thrown into me like a spear. It was kind of fun.
Dude, you should have taken the bump.
I was prepared to. The luchador is so good. The luchador is so good that he moved in midair to not hit me.
Did you see?
So we know it's not Sexy Star.
Did you see in that Sheamus Cesaro, the pay-per-view match they had that went outside the ring into a no result or whatever? Did you see when the one guy went over the barricade, like his foot clipped a fan in a chair, and the fan totally Michael Cold down and just lied on the ground for the entire time?
Dude fucking sold it. That's the way to go.
That's the way, dude. If you got a ticket and you're in one of the first 4 or 5 rows, you should know better. Damn it, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Lay down, take a bump.
On the first run through of it, I thought, "Oh shit, like this is crazy," and that fan just got taken out after like the 5. It looked cool. After 5 replays, I found out like the guy kind of just lied down next to Sheamus or whatever, but it was cool. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and it gave you something to actually watch in that match because the finish certainly wasn't something to watch.
Because like in the audience, we are mortal men. We are not wrestlers.
Right.
Anything that happens that a wrestler comes into contact to us should be absolute death, even if it's Masquerita Sagrada.
We've had this talk with Jimmy Five before. If you're going to be in the arena and you're going to be a fan in a place where they wrestle in the crowd, you have to be willing to sell. If a rubber wrench hits you in the head, you're done for the taping.
Exactly.
You got to lie down. Just go to sleep until the taping's over.
Well, and your friend standing next to you should throw up the X, man. They should sell it for you too. They should be like, "Oh, you got knocked the hell out."
You got to start bleeding.
Oh no, I'm not gigging. I'm not gigging if I'm a spectator. You got to make me bleed hard way. No way I'm gigging for a spectator spot.
If I get hit in the head with a rubber wrench, I'm gonna fucking gig. I'm sorry.
You're a real man.
Who has the worst forehead in Lucha Underground?
Vampiro?
Ivan?
Vampiro, maybe. Mil Muertes under the mask.
Oh, yeah. Mil's done a few.
Tejano, I think I've seen his forehead look kind of fucked up. when he.
No, his isn't that bad. His isn't that bad. Mac actually is
Dr.
kind of bad.
Wagner's is probably pretty fucked up. He juices a lot
Yeah.
under the mask.
AR Fox,
kinda looks
his
like
forehead's
Superman.
fine because he takes it hard way on the back all the time. Check out that dude's back when you get a chance. Oh my God, it looks like a pin cushion.
Casey, do you have something to say about that?
I have been
About-
extremely grossed out by his back in person. So that's all I can say.
Do you have something to say about him hard weighing on the back all the time?
No?
Not yet. All right, I'm going to get into the end of this match. We talked about the dive from the bleachers.
Yeah,
Um,
dope as fuck. This match was great, dude.
The 630 actually wins it, which is great.
Yeah.
You need that spot to
That
go
didn't
over.
happen. That's why this wasn't WrestleMania, Justin.
Why?
Because Mil Muertes lost.
I know, but, Puma had to get his heat back, and, the belt wasn't on the line, so it's okay. It's okay for Mil to lose this one.
Yeah.
It's never okay for Mil Muertes to lose unless it's the Pentagon Jr.
I think it's okay if it's leading to a Puma turn. I'm fine with it. Is Vamp prophetic or what, man? He said that it was going to be Puma that killed Mil.
Hey, all I'm saying is that Puma turned heel to me the second he Miedo'd me in the face. That was a lot
amazing.
longer than building
That
this.
was amazing.
I'm never letting that go, Puma.
I'll tell you what was wrong with this match. I got to be a critic here for a minute. I'll tell you what was absolutely the worst thing about this match. It was so damn good, there's not nearly enough Katrina in this match. I was salty.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Puma winning was the worst thing about this match. And I
like the Puma win. And I'm here to tell you, 8 months ago, I probably wouldn't have said that. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm liking the Puma win here because he's feeling himself out coming to the dark side. Like if he was pure babyface, I probably would have hated this win. If he was like just a regular old Technico coming to get his heat back without the angle, and this is why I love Lucha Underground and where they're going with these things. It totally worked for me.
I feel like 8 months ago is when I actually watched this match happen the first time. It's got to be close.
Yeah, it is. It was
March and April?
February, March, April, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's it for the show. Oh, wait. No, it's not. We have a classic moment right here at the end. Chavo Classic.
Chavo
Woo, Chavo.
And I love this angle. This is what you should be doing with Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
This is a great babyface angle here. He goes to Chavo Sr. to pay his respects and say, hey, do you mind if I try to destroy your son out of this company? Like, that's a thing that's ever going to get a positive response. But Ray does it anyway because he's the real Technico babyface here. Ray just goes right up to Chavo Sr., who's a badass in his own ways.
Yeah.
And, and I was half expected Chavo Sr. to just land the fist like, what the f- are you talking about, Ray?
Drop
I'll
the
beat you down. You
hepatitis elbow on Ray or something.
kick my son out of Lucha Underground, man. He built Lucha Underground. Where were you season 1? Like, that's what I expected him to do.
Credit, bitch. Oh, dude, I thought Ray was going to Chavo Classic to tell on Chavo, so I was pleasantly surprised that wasn't what happened. Your son tried to end my career. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, whiny little Ray without the mask did not show up here. This is not Ray versus Steiner. This is the new grown man Rey Mysterio manning up and going to Chavo Sr. like, here's the deal. Are we going to have a problem if I try to end your kid's career? And that's what we're left with at the end of this. It was basically like the temple isn't big enough for both of us, so either he leaves or I leave. Are we going to a loser leaves town match with Chavo and Ray? Is that happening?
Sounds like somebody's going to have to make like a tree and get the fuck out of there.
Well,
Loser
but here's
leaves town or career match or something.
Here's where I'm worried. We know that Chavo Guerrero is credited on the show as a producer. I don't feel like Chavo's going anywhere. Like, is there something up with Ray? Is he going back AAA style? Is he leaving town? Is he going back to WWE? Are we getting screwed here?
Well, Chavo can still produce in real life. He can still keep the credit.
Case Fabe. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm not the one who brought it up. I'm not bringing up real life IMDb credits here.
Well, I mean, his name's on the beginning of the show as a freaking producer. You can't think that a guy who's a producer on a show is going to book himself to lose his whole career.
I hope that they change his credit to Alan Smithy just to fuck with us.
Well, he might want his credit, Alan Smithy, if he has to leave town. But, look, it's Chavo. He can lie, cheat, and steal. Just because, Chavo Senior, Chavo Classic is going to let Ray do something like that doesn't mean that Chavo Jr. is going to fall for it. I mean, he may not accept those kind of terms or maybe he does career versus mask. Maybe we see Ray come out of the mask once and for all for the last time here. Is that possible, or would that just be a huge mistake
thing to do again?
Yeah.
Well, Lucha Underground's not selling any Ray masks, so why not just take him out of it?
God.
Good point. Where the fuck's my Ray mask?
They have to sell Ray mask.
Where's my Pentagon shirt that doesn't suck that I don't already have because the other one sucks?
Oh, the new Pro Wrestling Tees one does. I like the one that they were selling at the Temple. I'm cool with that one.
Oh, yeah, but I bought that shit day one, sir. Come on.
Yeah, it's not as good as the Peros shirts, but it's good. Anyway, so that's where we end this match with a lot of serious questions. Yeah. I'll be honest, I did not expect to like this episode, and I really did. I tweeted the hell out of this episode because there was lots of I like these episodes that have lots of little tidbits. And this one was just littered with them. Like, even just Vampiro saying that he was turned on by the violence in one of the matches, I found to be hilarious. And then he's talking about, beheadings in the French Revolution and stuff like that. Like, the Vampiro commentary was great this time. Like, just all the
hitting of a guy with a fuck dungeon, too. That's what's great,
Yeah.
like.
And Vinny Massaro, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 just because Vinny Massaro was in the episode. How's that?
Yeah, and I give that part a solid 5 stars.
This will be the by the way, I think this might be the first episode I've given a 10 to that did not have Pentagon.
That's true. That's true.
All right, let's move away from Lucha Underground a little bit. We've talked it to death today. Sorry, Josh Pillow, if that was too much for you. But it was fun. We had a lot of fun with Lucha Underground this week. This is why we do this podcast, because we like talking about Lucha Underground. This is fun for us. Something else that is fun for you guys, can't say it's been necessarily fun for me because I'm kind of living in the dark ages game system-wise. I'm rocking
Where
Xbox
the fuck is he going?
360. Byron, you're leaving when I'm going to talk about WWE 2K17. But Casey, you can kick us off. Tell me, what is the deal with this game that, from what I was seeing the first week of Twitter, it's like they released a half a game that didn't even work with gigabytes and gigabytes of patches just to even turn it on the first time. What the hell is this thing?
Okay, the game's a buggy piece of shit, but it is a fun buggy piece of shit. Like, it still hasn't had a patch that makes it work right. That 11 gig, 12 gig patch, shit's still really fucked up. Fucking erase the save data of people just by turning the game off. Like, all kinds of weird shit's happening. And I know that Byron is going to say all of those bugs are what leads to his shitty gameplay. But he just sucks at games, Justin. I wanted to make this a thing that we could all enjoy and make it a review of Bop and Wrestle on Commodore 64 instead. And
that would help me out.
He could barely do load star, 8,1 to get the shit running. So, here he is. Look, he's got a hat, and it's really ugly colors.
What is that thing on your
up,
head?
Guys? I just want to get some water.
It says something like, I have sex with men. Is that what it says, Myron?
No, it says boys, I think. It says boys, clearly.
Hat says if you can
little boys. That's the hat that they give to NAMBLA members. Okay.
Wait, Byron, read it so the picture stays up while you're reading it.
I can't read it because I can't see the screen, but I'm
Hold
pretty
my
sure.
Well, I can't read it at the same time because then the video switches to me. Oh, wait, here. I'll just
All right, here's the hat.
I got it. I can do it. Hold my hat while I have sex with your wife, you clown.
Is there punctuation?
Stupid clown.
There's 3 exclamation points.
Yes.
Not just one. So
Don't
you have to
forget
say it like, wife!
Yeah.
There's 3 exclamation points, yeah.
Listen, we were talking about 2K17, Byron.
Bro.
2K17, I can't play that game for more than 5 minutes without it glitching. It's not a complete
Told you he
game.
blamed the glitches on his shitty gameplay.
It's very frustrating. And I don't know why my Siri just popped up on my phone.
Oh man, don't even get me started on Apple this week, man. I have done every update that I should have never done this week ever. Oh, I hate you, Apple. Give me a headphone jack, you jerks.
Yeah, can't wait.
Fucking the best part about 2K17 right now is the career mode where you make yourself or a wrestler of your choice. But if you don't make yourself, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? It's a chance to be a WWE superstar. So me and Byron are in there, and they have this feature called Career Invasion.
Yes.
That some people like Hoke turn off for some reason, but everyone else keeps it on because it's the most fun part of the game. Where your friends created wrestlers show up in your game. It's not them controlling them, it's the computer. But like Byron comes in my game and I beat the shit out of him just like I would in real life constantly. And it's great. And it's the most fun part. Like I won a feud with Byron. I've moved on while he moves down the card. And I move up the card. I've left him behind. Not even like a Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty situation, but even worse, like a fucking Tito Santana, Rick Martel situation, maybe.
It's weird. Casey made his guy like 7 feet tall. Like, wait, Casey's my height. Like, I might even be taller than him if I'm wearing shoes.
You're much shorter than me.
And he made his character like a giant in height and added so much more muscle. And he wears like really tight spandex. It's weird. It says a lot of stuff about him.
Okay, 2 things.
But my guy
6'5" on there, like I measured at work. And also,
you measure your height at work. What's your job?
Fair. It's weird. You have to do it to get insurance. It's fucking bullshit. But also, they don't give you choices for body morphing. So I couldn't have a more realistic body for myself because instead of making it like, all right, I'll make the arms a little bit skinnier, I'll make the bulge larger. No, you have to like do like a Mr. Potato Head where you're just picking certain parts. Like, you can kind of have these arms. And it's fucking up creator wrestlers, too, because how are you going to make Hulk Hogan without the proper saggage, you know? But, you know, or Rhino without the little tiny T-Rex arms, you know.
Well, they already made Rhino, I think, or someone's made Rhino.
Someone's made a pretty good Rhino, and a lot of people made really shitty Rhinos, yeah.
I made a really good creator wrestler for myself I'm very proud of. Aside from the color balance being off in the photo I used for my face, so
you're really brown.
So I kept that skin tone. No, I look like I'm diseased. Like my skin tone is like Simpsons yellow.
You kind of look diseased in real life, bro. We've been meaning to tell you to see a doctor.
No,
because you clearly have gonorrhea and possibly syphilis.
How would you know if I have gonorrhea or syphilis by looking at me? But my favorite
all
part
over your face.
is my shirts that I designed for myself are fantastic. The first one I wore, I had a Masks, Mats, and Mayhem shirt logo on the back, and on the front I had Casey's stupid face, and it was great. I ran the risk though of having his face on my shirt. It makes everyone more angry when I'm wrestling them, and it would up the difficulty, but it actually put people in the submission. They were so horrified that they couldn't move, and then I would just pin them. And
it's kind of weird punching myself in the face. I have heart punch you for the win, but which would happen constantly because all I do is fucking win. And my heart punch is to be feared, bro.
But my current shirt that I'm wearing that I absolutely love. It's reminds me of Casey's like true, the source of his big fandom of wrestling. When you really get to the heart and soul of what Casey enjoys about wrestling. I was thinking about that, and I picked a John Cena shirt. And then right on the front where it says like C Nation, I put the mascot of C Nation, Casey's face.
Hey, why don't you tell people about the chronic masturbator wrist braces your wrestler wears as well?
And
this sounds horrifying. Do I ever want to play this game?
And he wears shit brown pants because I'm gonna beat the shit out of him, and he doesn't want anyone to notice.
My guy had cargo pants. My guy had cargo pants. I was basing my guy off of a realistic photo of me.
Yeah, cargo pants in 2016. Good job, bro.
No, it's an old photo, but I wear cargo pants so I can keep the batteries in my pocket so I can whip them at you when you're walking out of the ring.
The batteries for your fucking dildo?
You could go online and see the videos of me beating the hell out of Casey and Casey's guy being scared and walking away crying.
Well,
I mean,
so how do
photos-
people find you guys on this game if they want to play with you, if this game ever actually works correctly?
Oh, yeah. I got to speak on that a little bit, too, because fucking W is going down. I'm going to kick his fucking ass, but first we got to wait for the game to get patched because right now you can't kick out of pins online because the game's so fucked up.
Yeah.
But my name on PSN is Lucha Gringo. Byron's is Byron Fever.
Catch it.
And if you add us, we'll get into your fucking game.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, I have a feeling that this is not the end of the conversation for 2K17. So fans of the game, listen up here to see what trouble Casey's getting into and to figure out if Byron can ever win this game.
I win the game all the time. I have a video online on my
Plays
Twitter,
on
Byron Fever, which you can go and look at right now, where it shows me delivering a devastating finish and pinning Casey 1, 2, 3. The finish is I just straight up punch him right in the dick, and Casey cries so much that I get the win.
Well, how
I like
come you don't get DQ'd for that?
Byron's fantasy wrestler
Shoot to win.
involves his hand coming in contact with my genitals repeatedly.
I'm
Just like
trying
his fantasy in real life.
I'm trying to buy enough. I'm trying to buy enough. Of the
I
right
do have to
movesets
say-
so I can have at least minimum a third to a half of my moves be violent contacts to the groin.
Yeah, and his other move is getting stink-faced by all his opponents, which is the weirdest thing. He's got a fetish. He edited every moveset in the game. But there is a patch submitted for approval right now, so hopefully the game will be working by the next time we do this show. I doubt it because it's 2K. But, it's nice to be optimistic sometimes, right? Maybe it'll work. But, yeah, this is a fun game. I really enjoy it. Yeah, it's a buggy piece of shit, but they all have been, and it's the only wrestling game that comes out anymore. So we get what we get.
And speaking to that, I think this is a perfect segue into Goldberg because Goldberg was out promoting the game. He has a character in the game, right? They actually put him in the game this year. Is that why he's promoting?
Goldberg, I still haven't activated his code. I haven't put him in my game yet.
Oh, dude, he's going to die or get crippled anyway. That fucking position's cursed, right? So, check it out. The last 4 years, they've had pre-order bonuses for wrestlers, right? First year, it's the Ultimate Warrior. He gets put in the Hall of Fame right after that, fucking dies. Then, it's Sting. He comes back, gets crippled by Seth Rollins. Then, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. He knows he's smart enough to stay away from a WWE ring. He's fine. Goldberg, fucking coming back. He's going to get the curse. Mark my words. It's not good. I don't wish that on the guy, even though he's kind of a dick, but still.
Did you say Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah, but he's cool because he didn't come back to WWE, so he's fine.
What's he doing
Yeah,
now on
but
TV
Celebrity Apprentice got pushed. I mean, they shot that thing forever. It should have already aired. Maybe that was his curse, that he had to wait longer for his next paycheck.
He had to wait to be revealed as limo guy.
Yeah, because wasn't Celebrity Apprentice originally supposed to air in fall, and then it got moved to January? EV Dub was talking about having shot that thing over a year ago already now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a longer turnaround on that than Lucha Underground seasons. That's crazy. But Goldberg is out doing some press or whatever, and it leads to this thing of Lesnar, Goldberg, and blah, blah, blah. We saw Heyman come on TV and promote it last week. We're going to get Lesnar next week, I think. But this week we got Bill himself. And I'm going to tell you, I loved this segment.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I never liked Goldberg. And before Byron says this because I'm an anti-Semite or something, like he says I'm anti-woman because I hate Sexy Star, I hate Goldberg. You know what, Byron? I love Raven, and he's Jewish, so there. The guy that invented that shirt that Urban ripped off, Raven? Yeah.
Love it.
Sorry, I was ignoring you, Casey.
Yeah, he's
Barry Horowitz? I got no beef with Barry Horowitz. Fucking Dean Malenko? He's the shit. Just Goldberg. Just Goldberg.
Let me tell you why I like this. Because I feel like in this moment, I almost wish you would watch it, Casey, because maybe it'll change your mind. I feel like Bill had a real appreciation at this moment for what he had been given, and I say this in all caps, given by the wrestling world. And I think that he knows it now. I think that he knows that he was a football player that was put in an awesome situation, probably because Ted Turner made it that way, because no one else in the back, I think, gave a crap. But he was given this incredible, unprecedented run, especially at that time in wrestling, when you had so many hours on TV that nobody was getting long runs anymore.
Yeah.
And you had this huge heel faction with the NWO going that was, by its booking nature, unbeatable, because those guys could pretty much do whatever they want. And yet you still had Bill come in and catapult to the top of the game with this unbeaten streak and these jackhammer spear segments.
Yeah.
And this time, not like the last time he came back or whatever, but this time you could see on his face a different level of appreciation. And maybe it's because his kid was there for the first time and his wife was there for the first time or something. I don't know. But I like when I can see in a wrestler their appreciation for what the business has given them. It's like, dude, not everybody comes out of this okay. Not everybody gets over. Not everybody makes money. You were one of the guys that got to do it. You know, you couldn't play football your whole life. You got this new lease on life. You ran with it, which is smart. And here you are. After all of it, you've been a movie star. You're a celebrity. You can go wherever you want. Your house is paid for. Your kids are fed. Your wife is beautiful. You're back in the ring doing another farewell tour. And there was something in his eyes, man. Like, he was hugging kids all the way up and down and seeing the familiar faces that were there and appreciating all of them and stopping and taking it in. He wasn't just marching to the ring to do his shtick. You could tell that, like, I think the guy really missed part of it. And the part of it I think that he missed, I think, whether it's diluted or not, I think he missed being a role model. I think he missed the true babyface side of what he does. And maybe because he's older and has kids now or whatever, it impacts him differently. And there's not a lot of true faces left out there, man. We were talking about this earlier. I mean, in WWE, who are the true faces? Bayley?
Right.
Well, because a lot of their faces talk a lot of shit. Like, they call people, well, they use better language now, but the basis of a face is you call someone gay and a retard all the time. That's what The Rock and Cena used to do. Until
Cena, yeah. Like, I mean, Cena's one of their biggest baby faces now, but to get there, he had to go to the gutter.
Yeah, and that's what they used to do.
Bill never had to do that. Bill, the worst thing Bill ever did was said he was going to kick someone's ass.
Or at the time that he almost lost his arm punching through a limousine window.
Yeah.
Well,
that was dumb.
Or
age issues aside.
A lot of
I would say kicking Bret Hart in the head was the worst thing that he did, but
I can't forgive him for doing that.
Me either.
But a lot of, like, when you're looking back in retrospect, a lot of the drama around Bill Goldberg, aside from him having people, in his ear, kind of directing him to be a diva backstage about the wrong things. Like, he didn't want to turn heel because at the root of it, because he wanted to, like, he was a mark for himself as that babyface John Cena superhero. And John Cena's doing the same thing. He just articulates himself better about it. He wants to do the Make-A-Wish stuff. And you could see that still follows through with the hugging of the kids. And a lot of, like, the being difficult and not staying in WWE too long. It's because he wanted to do things that he thought was good business for himself. He looked out for himself. He didn't bend over and volunteer for, to be taken advantage of, which a lot of people do. It's kind of the nature of the business. There's like, there was this one thing where he turned down working extra dates and it got him heat. And that was in his contract. And that's what Lesnar's doing.
Guys like Lesnar do it constantly. Orton does it. I mean, everybody's part-time now. He was trying to set himself up like all these guys are set up now. But it's also part of why he's still healthy and half of these guys aren't.
Yeah, Goldberg, he's done some shows that some people watch. He did some movies that less people watched. He has a family that hasn't run away from him. He has a head that isn't made out of Jell-O. And he's in decent enough shape where he doesn't have to fake like he doesn't have a limp when he's on TV. Ultimately, he's done things the right way.
Yeah, he's probably the old timer that's come out with the least amount of bionic assistance in a long time.
Until his match with Brock.
Well, look, so how do you think this match is going to go down? I was arguing kind of back and forth with J-Man about this in the DM. I think Goldberg's going to go over. I think that it's the only thing that kind of makes sense for Lesnar right now. I also think it's the biggest FU that Vince can give everyone because no one thinks Vince will do that. I think that because of the angle, the way it played out with Orton, I think because of what they've been doing with Brock, to keep his character reasonable, having a part-timer or a one-timer or old-timer come in and be the one monster from his past that he can't beat might be the only way to put the correct kind of chink back in the armor of Brock Lesnar.
I don't think it's a good idea, but I think it's what they're going to do because they don't always do the best idea.
Well, Lesnar's kind of put in a corner where he's just so separated as far as his compete level from the rest of the roster. And on his rise up to that point, it was new and exciting, and it was really cool to see him pin Cena in a squash match, and it was really cool to see him just beat up everyone. But now that he's there, you're like, well, what's there for him to do now? He comes out there, Heyman's going to cut a promo about how he cuts a promo about how he's cutting a promo about the most dominant guy in WWE, but there's nothing new to say, or he's trying to sell, like, he has a match against Kofi Kingston. What could happen? I don't know. Historical match. You're like, it's going to be 16 German suplexes and he's going to win. So
exactly.
Goldberg, like you said, he's the only one realistically that can disrupt that narrative right now. And it would be an interesting story. I think there's more money in doing more than one match with them.
Yeah, and
they are going to do more than one match. I think we're going to get a fuck finish, and they're going to set up a third one, even though they're acting like this is the last match.
Yeah, and I don't think, by the way, that match will be at WrestleMania. I think that is where Vince will draw the line, even with himself. I don't think he will allow Goldberg to appear at WrestleMania. I think this will be the big non-Rumble match on the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, they got to sell out the fucking Alamo Dome again, so they need that match at the Rumble.
I don't know. I think they're going to sell out when they do AJ and HBK.
That's never going to happen.
Why wouldn't it happen?
Because he gave The Undertaker his word, Byron.
But what if it's a non-sanctioned match?
He said if he can't beat The Undertaker, he shouldn't wrestle ever again. But
you know what else? He gave his back the word when he retired after a back injury, and then he had surgery. So why doesn't he just have another surgery and come out of retirement?
Because it's that easy. Ask Kurt Angle how easy that is.
I'm not going to let that he gave his back the word go, because that was the most horrible thing anyone could ever say on a podcast. It was just the worst analogy, or I don't even know what the fuck you'd call it. It's just some bullshit. But look.
It's a valid point. And all he has to do is come back for an unsanctioned street fight. All he has to do is fight in stretchy jeans, and then he can do it.
On the board I posted on, someone said him and AJ should be a hair versus hair match because no matter what happens, the audience is a fucking winner. So I like that idea.
AJ needs that long hair. You don't want him looking like early TNA Beefcake AJ Styles.
I don't want Shawn Michaels looking like the fucking Crypt Keeper either, but here we are.
Correct on both points.
That's the deal that HBK made with his own god, and he has to live with it.
And it really is just his. It really is just his. I'm a Christian, and we don't have the same guy. I'm just going to say that right now. He's got some other guy. I don't know how he does that. Anyway, so the Goldberg thing, I think we're all kind of. I think it's interesting, and I also, by the way, I love everything Jericho right now and Rollins. It's totally money. They had to throw it at the beginning of the episode this week because of the Goldberg thing at the end. Worked great for me. Just there's magic going on there, and it's not a new angle. I mean, this is the best friends thing. It's been done before, but the way that Jericho especially is pulling this angle off, where you don't quite know how it's going to play out, and the fact that they're acknowledging in the ring with each other some of the screw job aspects of the whole thing is kind of a new twist, which I love, and I just think they're pulling it off perfectly right now. And I there's actually, for the first time in forever, a bit on an angle on WWE television that I actually want to see how they're going to play it out. Like, I actually want to see how they're going to write an angle and finish it and where it's going to go. And where it's at right now also looks a long, long way away from a blow off or a clean finish. So I'm very curious to see what they do with the Jericho angle and how Rollins keeps playing in and out of it, or if he eventually seeps out of it and it becomes a feud with the two. If one of them is going to have a face turn, who I would imagine it would have to be KO, but I don't know if that works with the way they're playing the angle. I don't know. That's why I'm like amazed by the whole thing. I love it.
But Kevin Owens is wearing a suit underneath that championship belt.
Jericho's wearing a scarf. You could never cheer for someone in a scarf. They can't be trusted.
You can always cheer for someone in a scarf, especially when that someone in a scarf comes out with no shirt and a scarf next to a guy with a suit on. That's amazing.
Yeah, because the last guy that wore a scarf and no shirt next to a guy in a suit didn't turn out to be a fucking asshole or anything.
Well, shit happens.
I heard, isn't it in Jericho's book that Vince gave the scarf to Del Rio because
he hates that Jericho wears scarves? Yeah.
Because he hated that Jericho wore some.
He literally called Jericho feminine because he wears a scarf.
Yeah, and then he made Fandango because he hated how feminine Jericho looked on Dancing with the Stars. And then just probably everything else was born out of Jericho, or Jericho created it. Jericho's invented everything.
Yeah, because he is both awesome and amazing and awful all at the same time. And it works. It's genius. All right, well, let me get off of WWE like I just got off Byron's mom, and we can talk about...
My mom is a nice lady.
She is. She's so nice.
Yeah, she's really nice to Justin. He just fucked her.
It's the cupping that really works for me.
Oh, my God.
Oh, did I go there? God, that's terrible. Sorry, your mom doesn't watch this show, does she?
Is your mom still alive?
Hold on. Wait, you don't watch this show, do you? Okay,
Is your
stay
mom
in there.
still alive, Justin? Because I'm trying to figure out if I can make jokes about Casey fucking her.
Oh,
If she's still alive, I can't make the joke.
No, she's still kicking. He's got a few.
That used to be my EFED gimmick, bro. That used to be my EFED gimmick.
Anyway, here's something you can't make fun of anymore. Cleveland sports teams. I'm not going to talk about it for a long time, but the Cleveland Indians are in the World Series. They won the pennant, and they're going to the World Series, guys. And I'm hoping it's against the Dodgers, but that may not be the case. The Cubs are looking pretty good. I'm just amazed. Like, we have first it was Stipe winning, then it was the hockey team in Cleveland, not a major league hockey team. They're the minor league team, Byron, so don't get excited.
Hockey, the Ducks won yesterday.
You can't move to
Here's
Cleveland
an update.
yet.
The Ducks won.
And then that's hilarious, that text. Anyway, yeah, so first Stipe, then the hockey team, then the Cavaliers, and now the Tribe is in the World Series. The Browns are never going to join this list, so I'll still have something to be sad and pitiful about. But I got to say congratulations to my Cleveland Indians. Anybody who doesn't know, I'm originally from Cleveland. I've been in LA a long time. Dodgers are my second favorite team. I would kill to see a Cleveland Indians versus Los Angeles Dodgers World Series. That would be the most amazing thing in sports to me that is left, because Stipe winning the belt was probably the first on the list, and then the Cavs was probably the second. So,
and if you didn't know Justin's from Cleveland, I'd like to welcome you to listening to our podcast because it's mentioned every week.
Yeah. But these guys promised me if I let them talk about 2K17, I could have a moment to talk about my Cleveland Indians. And that's my moment. I'm moving on. UFC. Holy
Go
smokes.
Dodgers.
Oh, I just want to bring up before we leave wrestling.
What?
Miles Mahoney and Axel Rotten were diagnosed with CTE, which should be obvious, but it's also big news.
Oh. And you know, we did a little tribute to Balls earlier this year, and
but it's just something that we'll probably see a lot. Like, you could probably go back to all the wrestlers you used to watch and like put a check by the ones that are probably going to have it. Like,
well, I mean, those guys never took any kind of chair shots or anything.
Yeah, they were.
I think they only headbutted chairs. I think that was the only thing in their moveset was like running headfirst into chairs.
Yeah, pretty much.
I wonder how Masato Tanaka's doing these days.
Right.
Well, his elbow took a lot of the chair shots, so hopefully that helps. He roared himself right into a lot of chairs.
It's
But he also took a few,
Not
and
spinning around at that point. You know, maybe if he didn't spin first, he would just not hit a chair every time.
yeah, exactly. That roaring elbow was the stuff of legend, though. So I got to move into the UFC though. There's for a week that was supposed to be quiet, and not really very quiet. This I'll start with the small stuff and go to the bigger stuff. How about that? Because the smallest news this week was Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
How in a week in MMA, when Conor says something and it's the smallest news, that's amazing in itself. McNuggets, as Gegard Mousasi would call him, said officially for the first time that he would actually let go of the baby belt, the little guy belt, at 145. And whoever the Fook wants it can take it.
Oh,
Probably Jose. And I think this has to do with the fact that Jose met with the UFC. He's still very unhappy. He's talking about never fighting for them again. I think the UFC called Conor afterwards. It was like, Conor, you got to say you're going to give the guy the belt. We already know you are. But you have to actually say that now, or we're going to lose this guy forever, and that's not good for any of our business. So I think Conor got the slap on the wrist with that. But he did. He came out and he said, look, he can have the belt, but only after I win both of them and I get to parade it around and get to see myself on the cover of GQ with both the belts. And, you know, he wants to win both of these belts. He wants to parade it around. Then he wants to stay at the 155, I believe. Now, that's saying that he wins the belt. Eddie Alvarez ain't no joke. I think they're a great matchup for each other. I expect fireworks. I actually do believe, strangely enough, that Conor has the size advantage. I think he's going to come into the fight the bigger man. He's been down to 45. Eddie could get down to 45 though if he wanted to. And if you saw the square off between the two of them, Conor actually looked bigger. I mean, given he's coming off fights at 170 and he put on some muscle, but I think Conor's going to come into it a heavier, stronger guy than Eddie. And I don't think that Eddie's going to have his way with Conor the way he thinks. I think they're both good boxers for MMA guys. Don't get me wrong. Not calling them good boxers in the sense of real boxing world, just in the sake of the MMA world. But we'll see. I think it's a good fight. Anyway, that was
what I think is really happening though, Justin, honestly.
Talk to me. What do you think?
He didn't want to come out there and say, oh, I'm going to hold on to me belt just in case Eddie Alvarez knocks me the fuck out. And then I still have a belt. That's what's really happening.
Well, that is what's really happening. I mean, look, if Eddie keeps his 155 belt, Conor ain't giving up that 45 belt. He may actually have to finally fight for it to keep it, but he's not going to lose to Eddie and then also give up the other belt. Yeah, that would not ever happen.
No. So, because much like the great Eric Van Wagenen, I have Eddie Alvarez in this fight.
I did it first, but now I'm going to Conor. And you know me, I'm not going to make my final prediction until I see them on the scales, because I think that the fight before the fight says a lot about what guy's going to win and what kind of mentality they're coming into a fight with. You know, you saw when Conor lost, everything before the fight was him playing patty cake with Portal, that guy, Ido Portal. You know, you saw him before his last fight. Everything that was going on that week of was dead serious, man. There was a whole nother thing going on. It was, dude, I'm reading textbooks on this. We brought in jiu-jitsu guys and this, and like, it was all about training.
And throwing cans.
Yeah. So the next news is the UFC layoffs. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. It might not be the biggest news. And like I said, I'm kind of going up in order of news here. The UFC has laid off a lot of their people, especially some bigwigs in the global operations. We saw that Dave Schaller moved on last week, and he's going to the 76ers organization now. We've heard that Joe Silva's already leaving. And they're rolling these changes out slowly so that people aren't too shocked and appalled. But people over at the office in Vegas, and I won't say if I know or how many of them I know, they're scared. A lot of people feel like they're going to lose their jobs. Just today, right before we went on, there are rumors circulating that WME, the new owners of UFC, want to get rid of the Ultimate Fighter after how many seasons. That the Ultimate Fighter they feel is a loss leader and costing them money that they don't want to and not promoting stars the way that they want or something. So Ultimate Fighter could be seeing its last few legs. And I do know a lot of people that work on that show. So to all my friends that are a part of that show, I hope for you guys that the show does not go away. I know it's been, Fernando Delgado and Gary DeFranco, my boys that work on that show, and a lot of the cameramen that show up there every single season. I mean, these guys will turn down other work to go work on that show. I hope for their sake that it comes back and that these rumors are false. But going back to
that's a bad sign, dude. If they get rid of that, they're gonna get rid of fucking Fight Pass.
I don't think so.
No?
But I'm gonna get into that. And here's the thing: everyone, when they made this sale, you got to think about how this all went down. If you think about how Lorenzo used to run the company back in the day, when guys would come and ask for big bucks, the answer was always go to hell. If you looked at Fedor, paying Fedor $1 million 8 years ago or whenever he wanted to come in would have been fine. There was no problem with that, but they wanted to keep the reins on the business. They didn't want this pricing to get out of control like it has recently. It wasn't until Lorenzo was looking to sell the company that they started letting fighters have these paydays. They never let anyone turn themselves into a Floyd Mayweather type character before Conor and Ronda because they weren't interested in selling the company before that. It wasn't until they were interested in selling the company were they even willing to look at paying fighters these huge amounts of money. Do you think Nate Diaz, a guy who was making 40 and 40 for his fights before, was ever going to get $500,000 out of those guys if they weren't selling the company? Right. They were doing it because they needed the hype. They wanted it to go that direction. It's part of what made it desirable to finish the sale. It's part of what put the bigger price tag on it. It's smart business. Yeah. You wait until the end and give the money up. But here's where all the dumb fighters and guys in the fight game got everything wrong. They see that $4 billion sales tag, and just then they start thinking about whether or not they're getting enough money. They're starting to see Conor stuff, and just then they're asking what their piece of the pie is. They should have been asking these questions 4 years ago. Now everyone's asking the stupid questions, and here's the problem. The new owners are in the red. They're not in the black. They're just spent $4 billion. The guy who has just spent $4 billion is not the guy you go to and ask for a raise.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way, people.
Well, we all saw this. We all saw this in the office when Sabre bought Dunder Mifflin. I mean, right? We've all seen the story before.
Yes. A Simple Comedy had it right. And everybody in the UFC is like surprised. Damn right they're chopping the heads off of executives that are just sitting in Brazil waiting to do 2 cards a year. They can run that junk from Vegas. That guy doesn't get to have a job. The guy sitting over in Asia getting $500,000 a year to do nothing is not keeping his job. There's some dude over at William Morris Endeavor right now that can do that with 3 phone calls and a laptop. That guy does not get to wear a suit and bang hookers in Thailand anymore. These guys are trying to make their money back. They have loans to repay. This is the way real business works here, people. It's just how it goes. And everyone is surprised that this stuff is happening. But it's true. You're talking about cutting the Ultimate Fighter. Like, if it's not making them money, these guys are going to streamline. They want the biggest bang for the buck for the best price for the next 3 years, people. And then, don't get me wrong, it is not going to stay this way. Don't worry, people. The bigger, badder, crazier UFC that Lorenzo was giving us right before he went out the door is still coming. The check is in the mail. It will be back in a few years when they renegotiate these TV deals, when the Reebok deal is up and they either go for another sponsorship deal or rape everyone else to come back in with the fighter sponsorships, and then UFC gets a bigger cut of it. When those things start happening and they can start putting the real quantifiable price tags on their investment, everything, it's all fair game. So don't worry. Like, these guys aren't, it's just business, and it's good business. When you buy something for $4 billion, you streamline a little bit, folks. Not the time to be asking for bigger paydays. All these fighters are looking for money fights, this, that, and the other thing. Make sure you ask at the right time. Which leads me to GSP. GSP was screwed by this whole situation too. You saw that he was going into USADA testing. He was coming back. He was working with Lorenzo. He had some issues. He didn't like the Reebok thing because he's Under Armour sponsored. He's also a CAA guy, and now WME owns the place. So like, which is a huge issue. You know, he's doing A-level movies. I mean, this guy's been in, you know, Marvel movies and stuff now and doing big movies.
Backdrop the leapers, sir.
Yeah. So he's got issues on a business level above and beyond every other fighter out there, including Conor McGregor. And he's a huge draw. They had this Toronto card looming forever. And to sell the company, Lorenzo obviously was making the correct overtures to GSP. They were close to getting a deal done, which makes sense because Lorenzo's trying to pass his company off, make it look viable. And here's one of the biggest stars who has self-appointedly been sitting on the shelf. So Lorenzo's trying to bring him back into the fold. The fighter's trying to come back into the fold. They don't get the deal done in time. Lorenzo's gone. New owners come in, look at whatever GSP was being promised, and they're like, hell no. We're not giving you whatever. I mean, the number $10 million has been kind of floated around out there. I don't think it was that much, or maybe it was with points or something, but Ari Emanuel ain't giving him that money. Are you kidding me? He doesn't want it to spiral out of control with other fighters or other guys trying to make a comeback. One fighter is not going to mean enough to these new guys. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think like maybe they'll get something done with GSP. But GSP has now said that they had giving him a fight. There was a clause in his old contract that said, hey, you have to present a credible opponent within this amount of time. He brought in a special sports attorney to deal with that. They put it out there. And then he went on MMA Hour at the beginning of the week and said that they didn't do that within the 10 days. So he considers his contract to be terminated and considers himself a free agent. UFC, of course, says, no, we don't agree with that. And here's where they may be right. Robbie Lawler has said he would have gladly accepted a fight with GSP. And GSP himself even said, they mentioned Robbie Lawler as that guy within that 10-day time frame, and he said, "No, Robbie is hurt. You can't make me fight somebody who's hurt. It won't happen." But that Robbie Lawler is saying is not the case. Robbie Lawler is saying, "No, I can fight. I would have taken that fight in a heartbeat." So now GSP's got another issue. So maybe UFC is not in breach of the contract like he says. Any way you cut it, the basic moral of the story is the new owners are in the red. They want to be in the black. They just spent a bunch of money. They're not looking to spend a bunch of money now. Anyone who's coming to the negotiating table with them is going to have to come up with something a little bit better. They axed Rory. They're willing to go to this Toronto card with just Daniel Cormier and without GSP at this point. You're going to have to talk some dollars to make some sense to these guys. And that's just that. What do you guys think about it? I've ranted enough.
It's kind of fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Huge part of these Toronto cards is always having someone that's at least from somewhere in fucking Canada headlining the show, which is interesting. I think that the true
and DC took the fight on that card, not wanting to be the headliner. This is the guy who's the light heavyweight champ. He wanted George St. Pierre on that card. If you go back and watch his interview, him and Kenny Florian interviewed GSP at the beginning of September when DC wasn't even on the card, and DC was putting, GSP was putting it out there then that he would most likely come back by the Toronto card. That interview right there is the whole reason DC jumped on the card in the first place, and now he's left hanging with no George St. Pierre, and another DC payday is going to get jacked.
It sucks because, people aren't buying that card. Like, the payday's coming from GSP being on the fucking card. Not from DC.
That's where the real pay-per-view buys are, and if DC's got points, that's what he's trying to cash in on, and this will be the second time that he's gotten screwed over on that because he got screwed over at UFC 200 with the John Jones thing, and now the GSP and then Conor fell off that card, so he didn't have that big draw on there. Like DC just cannot get himself on a big card. He's not on Madison Square Garden, and now you've got UFC 206, which is the Toronto one, sandwiched in between 205, which is Madison Square Garden with Conor Eddie and every other huge fight you could ever imagine, and then 207, which is the return of Ronda Rousey. No one's going to order this 206 card without GSP just for
That's
a DC
hilarious.
fight. I'll be the only one, and that's because I have 3 free pay-per-views coming from them getting rid of UFC Rewards plan. Another sign that they're changing things. UFC Rewards went away, where they used to give you points towards free shit just for, clicking on links and reading news and playing UFC fantasy and stuff. So I was racking up these points, and I would get free stuff for it. Like my Fight Pass subscription is paid for. I got some free pay-per-view passes or whatever out of it. But they just canceled it this month. It's gone out of the blue. They're just like, we're giving everyone 30 days, cash your shit in. We're discontinuing this because the new owners are just like, yeah, that's a fan appreciation thing just to get people to click on a couple things on our website. We should be a big enough sport that people will come to our website. We don't have to entice them in by spending money and giving things away. It's a new UFC.
Or we can just completely say it's a fan appreciation thing and we don't appreciate the fans because
they appreciate money. They just spent $4 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I felt like I saw this coming, and a lot of other people really thought that it was going to be the same UFC that it was before, where, the first time I was in a room with Lorenzo, I was nobody. There's no reason for the man to talk to me. He saw a new face in the room. He came over. He shook my hand, introduced himself like I didn't know who the fuck he was. Same with Dana White. I am absolutely nobody. And every time I have been in a room with Dana White, whether there was 3,000 people trying to get at him or not, he has spoken. I've had a conversation with the man. They ran business differently. You may not like everything that they do, but they were a very hands-on business. And they wanted people to want it. They weren't going to pay their fighters a bunch of money, and they were kind of dicks on a business level to a certain extent, but they were personable. No one from WME has come out and said anything about this. They're not going to be personable. They're going to send in a hired outside company to lay people off. This is corporate America, baby. This is a whole different world. Ari Emanuel's not going to show up on your television and explain what's happening in the UFC. He's just going to get his money and do his thing. And Dana can still do it. He's got Dana there. Basically, he's just going to say, yeah, that's what I pay Dana for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how it goes. And who knows, man, Dana could disappear out of this whole equation at any point in time. I think they're going to keep him around long enough to right the ship the right direction, and then maybe he's gone too. Because a lot of these people are his friends that are going bye-bye.
Yeah.
And he's putting a good face on it right now, but he might be fuming underneath. We don't know.
Yeah, like the first thing you have to do after the sale is to show stability. But once people are comfortable, you make it your own.
Yeah, and they want to be a premier sporting destination. They're not trying to be people's friends. It's not the same. It's not your daddy's UFC anymore, which is great.
How great would it be if they made Dana actually get in the octagon for Loser Leaves Town match?
Hey, he almost did it with Tito. I don't think Dana's afraid of it, but I think Dana might not pass his own USADA testing.
Yeah, but you can still fight as long as, whatever. Say that he failed it after the fight. But with USADA, if you let them go the way that they're going, you don't know when the results are going to come in. As you saw with John Jones, they would have much rather his results came afterwards, like Brock's. Yeah,
but they didn't. They came before.
I wonder if they got Brock's too, and they're like, "Come on,
is that a yokai?"
It is. I just got this Yokai Watch 2. It came with it.
Who cares?
How much is the Yokai Watch 2?
$40 at Target.
Right on. I have to get on that.
There's 2 games, dude. So you guys got to get. If you guys get the black one, I have the gold one. So then we can switch. They did the Pokemon thing with only certain monsters being on certain games.
The old DS trick, huh?
So I bought this one because less people have it, so I figured I'd get better trades that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, here's the last thing I have to talk about. It's also UFC related. My new favorite person in the whole universe, and I said I was doing this in increasing order. Mm-hmm. I think this is the biggest story, even bigger than GSP, even bigger than the UFC layoffs, bigger than McNuggets saying that he would drop the belt. Gegard Mousasi is a superstar officially. I'm declaring it right now, right here. You heard it here first. Gegard Mousasi is the next superstar in the UFC. This guy is off the hook. He used to go to press conferences and be like, no, guys, I respect everyone here. I just, I came to fight my fight, and it worked out great, or it didn't work out great. That's it. That used to be all you would get from Gegard Mousasi. Now, there's a little YouTube video out there. It's called Gegard Mousasi Responds to Internet Trolls, I think. Find it.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, he was calling Conor McGregor a ginger-headed fuck and a retard.
That was hey, don't curse. We're doing ads.
Yeah. I'm just saying that's where he started with this.
Oh shit! Am I not supposed to be cussing? Oh,
nah, whatever.
Fuck.
And then he starts. There's no way I'm going to get through this segment without it because it's amazing. Then he does a Facebook Live session that just degenerates, because he started messing with Conor McGregor. He's got a lot of people trying to flame him on the internet now, and he starts right off calling his internet troll fans faggots and retards, and says even though their mothers have big nasty foreheads, he would still bang them, and it just degenerates from there. Like, that was the nicest stuff that he said. I mean, he must have said go fuck yourself and your mother like 7 times. Like, it just gets amazing. But he's calling it like it is, man. He's saying, look, yeah, I might not be the fight that makes sense for Bisping, but I'm going to fight out. I want to get my contract to a certain place. I'm going to fight somebody else who's in the mix. He wants Anderson Silva or one of these other guys, or maybe Uriah Hall, who snuck a win on him. And the dude is crushing people. He's crushing people. He volunteered to fight DC when John Jones fell out of that fight. He's like, no, I can fight at 205. I killed DC. Like, this was what he was saying that day, and he was ready. He was on the card fightings. He was like, they got me against some jobber. I'll go fight DC. It's a better fight for him, for me, for everyone. Anderson, they pulled Anderson off a couch. Fuck that guy. I mean, this is the Gegard Mousasi that you're getting right now. He is the one guy completely calling it like it is. It's not the Conor McGregor version of calling it like he wants to see it and hyping some stuff up. Gegard is like just cutting through all the BS and just saying whatever is on his mind. He is a fighter gone complete verbal diarrhea, and it is amazing. Everyone should watch everything that Gegard's doing right now. He's not much on Twitter, but find any of the videos and interviews.
Yes. His Twitter's surprisingly boring, unfortunately, for now.
Yeah, because he's just like, that's stupid. Why do I get on the Twitter? That's for guys who need to boost their ego. Instead, he did a Facebook Live session, and you can hear his management and his people, his handlers are in the room with him. And he is destroying trolls with things that you cannot say anymore.
No.
Don't forget, Cowboy Cerrone used the word fag. He said that DC fought like a fag. Or was it DC or somebody, or Lesnar or somebody? He called somebody a fag and got in huge trouble.
Lesnar. Yeah, I think it was Brock. And he
and he got in huge trouble for it. And No, it was DC because he's John Jones's teammate, and I think he was mad at DC.
Gotcha.
And they're talking about sending him to counseling and this, that, and the other thing. The stuff that Gegard Mousasi said are like insults that you couldn't even get away with in a 1980 Michael Keaton comedy. Like, there's just stuff that is so not PC that he has said, and it's just amazing. And I'm not condoning saying things that are inappropriate, but I am saying that I love it.
Okay, what is worse, Justin, in retrospect? Gegard Mousasi's live Facebook Live, or the movie Soul Man with C. Thomas Howell?
Soul Man was more PC than Gegard.
Holy shit. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he is on another level. So whether you love him or hate him, he's either going to be the next big thing as a heel, or he's going to go completely on a stone cold like face run from being such a evil, awful person. I don't know, but I can't wait to see what happens. And if he fights out his contract and UFC doesn't bring him back, I think they're crazy. But in Bellator, he could turn some heads, man, because I don't know if there's a single guy they got over there that he would not just absolutely destroy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if he can go over there,
and it's funny because who's going to tell him not to say shit in Bellator?
No, but he's got the right idea. He's like, man, I never thought about it, but look, if I have to talk, like, I don't care. The UFC is not doing enough by me to keep my mouth shut, so You know, I got a contract. They're feeding me tomato cans. It's fine. I'm going to ask for big fights. I'm going to stir the pot. I'm going to call everybody out. I'm going to talk smack. And if they give me what I want because of it, great. If they don't, I'm no worse off than I was. He's got nothing to lose at all, especially if he keeps winning fights. The only thing that he has to lose is a fight at this point.
Yeah. Ooh, that's where pro wrestling has the advantage a little bit there. But
yeah, and even Bisping is like, look, Bisping talks a bunch of smack himself. He's like, I like the guy. He's just not a big enough payday for me yet. You know, he needs to win another fight. And winning over Vitor Belfort was huge. But you give Gegard 1 or 2 more fights, wins, and he is in the mix for that title. That really is all he needs. One more big win, and he's in the top 5 easily. He should be number 5 right now, I think. Anyway, awesome. That's it. That's all I got. You guys got anything else you want to add today?
Byron sucks at
wrestling. Do we have an update on when we're going to start covering women's Mexican boxing matches?
No, because Sexy Star is wrestling again. It's funny how you can quit wrestling and get out all kinds of contracts and shit.
But isn't she going to wrestle out of the mask now? She's going to, like, if she's wrestling anywhere other than Lucha or AAA, she has to wrestle out of that gimmick now, right?
Well,
right.
Yeah, she doesn't.
The whole point was she wasn't going to wrestle, period. She was just going to be a boxer, and here she is sullying wrestling rings once again.
No, well, she left AAA. And then because there was the whole thing, I don't know what the deal is with her contract. She left AAA. She was going to stay at Lucha Underground, I'm pretty sure. She never once talked about them, I'm pretty sure. And she was going to start boxing. She may have mentioned. It's hard because she mentioned how she was doing underground fighting for boxing. But Lucha Underground is called underground fighting. So it was weird. But
there's something to be said about Sexy Star and retiring from Lucha Underground that we can't say yet. But I'll point it out soon.
Hopefully very soon.
Yeah.
It's going to get interesting, people. That's all I got to say. The whole thing is very, very interesting.
Yeah, if you want to be pissed off Casey, keep listening to the show. Yeah.
It's so interesting that the people who I could ask the questions of, I can't ask the questions of. Oh, right. There's another thing I wanted to point out. And I already knew this, and this is another one of those things, like I talked about at the top of the show, like, don't think that we don't know what's going on. People are talking about this Lucha going on tour more. They're doing the in vivo thing, which is like some state fair shows. And there's a couple matches booked on them. Mundo is wrestling on all of them. There's, good, smart business reasons why. He's not a guy who's working a ton of indies anymore. And he's been pretty loyal to Lucha Underground from the beginning. So, I think when the cricket thing came up, he was a guy that they threw in the mix there. He has done his part for both AAA and Lucha Underground, so I think he's getting the rub, and rightfully so. He completely deserves it. And then, they're bringing some other people in. Don't be fooled, though, people, because there's 2 matches announced for those cards, and everyone else is just scheduled as appearing, which could just be signing and trying to get you to sign up for Cricket Wireless. Yeah. I don't know how big or small these events are really going to be. It seems like they're coming together pretty quickly. These are not the touring type shows that Eric Van Wagenen has been talking about. And I know he talked about them in an interview recently. Eric told us the exact same thing months and months and months ago, not on the show, but just in conversation. So we've known that it's possible, but it's not anything to report. Him saying that is not something to report. It's not something new. It is not news. Lucha Underground is trying to figure out how to do some touring. They have been talking about the Hammerstein Ballroom and a few other locations. None of it is set in stone yet.
Yeah.
Eric
Some
wasn't
people are complaining about the lack of promotion on the TV show for these live events coming up. Like,
can I tell you guys something that is news to me anyway?
What's that?
A lot of people might already know this, but I didn't know this until someone told me. Pentagon's told AAA that his U.S. dates take priority now.
Interesting.
Well, didn't he double his price?
Yeah, from what I heard, he recently just way up or doubled or tripled his appearance price. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the rumor going around the booking circles.
Well, that would make sense for him to tell AAA that if he's getting booked better, he's in.
Well, that might just be negotiating too. Don't money. People take some of this stuff too far too, and thinking that just because a guy is saying something that he's doing that. Like, he has not, to my knowledge, turned down any AAA booking for anything that wasn't a date that he already had something else booked. He's turned them down when they've tried to book him last minute for things where he already had dates and plane tickets and things set up and had already been paid advances and whatnot. But I don't know that he's turned them down for any time that they've ever asked him to do a show in advance.
And
So
it's just
he's
another
got no angle, and he's on none of the big shows.
Yeah, it's another like Lego it's another little piece in the same story that keeps going forward, where Pentagon gets more respect, dollar wise, booking wise, and appreciation by the booker, by the company outside of Mexico, outside of AAA. And it's just, I mean, even without blowing it out of proportion and just saying like this is an unconfirmed rumor, it's still a logical procession of what we've been seeing with his career. And it's, it's just, it's going to be interesting to see what the reality is of this that comes out to us.
And it does play into what we're talking about with the touring shows. Just so you guys know what we know, because it's not a secret. You can talk to any of the wrestlers. You can talk to any of the bookers over at Lucha Underground. The plan is, what they all want to happen for the most part is they want to do 40 episodes a year. They want to tape them mostly in winter and spring in Los Angeles. They want to be done by summer because it costs a fortune to cool that building, and it's a nightmare to be in the heat. No one wants to run Lucha Underground shows at the Temple in summer, and you can hear that from anybody on production or any of the talent.
Or the fucking fans.
Or the fans, us. We don't want to be there in July ever again either. Right. And so that's the plan. And then it's good to go to other markets for promotion and otherwise. They don't want to run big house shows. They're not going to be WWE. They're not going to run pay-per-views in another city or anything. They're going to come and try to do a market, maybe 2 or 3 shows in a market in a medium-sized room, just run good, high-quality shows. It gives their talent a chance to work, but they're also not going to overbook dates. They're not going to do a tour where they're going from city to city to city to city. They're not going to go out on the road and stay on the road. They're going to go to a city, do some shows, go back home. Yeah. Hopefully to give their talent a chance to make a little more money in the off season, work out some stuff, whatever, and come back. And to do that, and when they say to do that for 7 months of the year, it's not to do it solid for 7 months of the year. It's to fill in some of the 7 months off from taping with that, and to streamline taping so that they can get all their taping done in 4 or 5 months for 40 episodes a year. That is the game plan that has been expressed to us, not from even just one source, but from multiple sources. And I will say, honestly, that one of them is Eric Van Wagenen, who is out there talking about it himself. That is the Lucha Underground plan. And it's not set yet, people. It is not confirmed. They have to deal with the LLC. They have to deal with MGM. They have to deal with the talent. They have to deal with the production of it. There's a lot of moving pieces, and I think that's why you're getting these cricket shows. It's a good way to kind of run it up the flagpole a little bit. Cricket obviously is paying for this stuff and throwing the money at it, and they're doing these shows for free, so it's not like they're trying to make a lot of money off of it. This is a promotional tour for Cricket Wireless. That's why you're getting free Lucha Underground, people. These things don't come for free otherwise.
Show. Lucha Underground is not risking any money doing this whatsoever. This is just, let's fucking do it. Somebody else is fronting the bill.
Yeah, and this is a good way for talent to get a little bit of an appearance fee or a paycheck to promote the product, and for one of their sponsors to try to get themselves over with the product. You saw that Cricket did some stuff with Lucha Underground last season. Then they kind of laid off of it a little bit, and they did some WWE stuff. And obviously Cricket sees the wrestling market as a good market for them. And also look at the places they're going. They're going to very Latino communities. They're not going – this isn't what Eric Van Wagenen was talking about. Eric Van Wagenen is talking about going to wrestling cities and bringing the show to them to get more viewers for the product, which is where he makes his money. Mm-hmm. Okay? Cricket is going to cities where they can sell low-price cell phones to Latino communities. That is part of their strategy for marketing. Mm-hmm. And they feel like this is a good product to do it. So that, and great, we're all going to benefit from it. Some other people, in where is it? Houston,
Arizona, San Diego.
Arizona, and San Diego. It's great. Those are great places for Lucha Libre, great places for Lucha Underground to go. That's all I got to say about it.
Hey, could we do like an invite to people that that go to these shows if they want to come on here and talk about it?
Yeah, if anybody gets to one of the shows and wants to come on and give us a little review of what they saw, what they liked, what they didn't like, what was happening there, we'd love to have you, especially if there's anyone at the Houston show that wants to come on. I think we know people that are going to be at the Arizona and San Diego shows, but definitely hit us up. And even if you're going to one of the Arizona or San Diego shows, hit us up. We may even try to go to San Diego. I don't know.
Not me, but you guys might.
Yeah, well, you never know.
I'm going to San Diego. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I might actually have a job.
Good. Get me one.
Right?
Wait, we'll see. We're making money on this broadcast right now, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
all right, I'm out of here.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are out of here. Everyone's out of here. This has been a fun, way too long episode. Sorry, Josh Pillow. We had way too much to cover, but I had fun doing it anyway, even if it was long. I'm sure Casey will quit tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have a couple of guests coming up in the next few weeks. We'll see if we can ever schedule a time that works for us and anyone else ever. I mean, it's like Vinny. We can catch Vinny, but he's even doing stuff while he comes on. Like, there's so many great guests that would love to be on our show that I just can't ever get the right time to get them on here.
Yeah,
So,
I hope that we do get Twitwow's Vinny Massaro on our show again sometime.
now that he's a big star.
Yeah. Now that he's moved on to Twitwow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Until
Stay in the mix.
next
God, fuck
time, stay black. And I'm out.
Peace.
Stay calm and stay in the mix.